I decided to take a pause from the solo conquests and go with some scenarios, and I do want to jump right into Shades of Tesla, so not do any Volcar scenarios for now. Probably triggered from a recent discussion about the faction tokens and if they are useful or not, so I really like to dive again into Shades of Tesla with the new factions, the faction tokens, and also the new enemies. But before playing the main scenario, I want to get familiar with the tokens, so I'm playing the two shorter ones, so they are using Blitz rules. And the first one is the Realm of the Dead, where you are going after the Necromancer. So the scenario says or recommends a level of 4. The Necromancer has up to 12 levels. And I'm not unsure what to attempt here, but I think to just get familiar with the scenario, I am going with a level 8 Necromancer. That already means that he has 32 life, and his first attack will be an 8 physical attack that's poisonous. So I think that's okay. And he will have 1 green, 1 brown, and 2 red enemies that I have to defeat alongside with him. In a scenario, you also have to seal 2 of the graveyards, so I already revealed one. There's 5 countryside tiles of the Blizz rules, and one has already a graveyard. There are 2 graveyards in there, and the graveyard has 2 green enemies that I can encounter like in a ruin, so they are on the space. When I enter the space, I'm not triggering anything, but I can then try to liberate the graveyard. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing the tokens yet, so this will be a surprise. And once a graveyard is liberated, I can seal it with a mana, which gives me a reputation, and defeating the first graveyard gives me an advanced action, defeating the second graveyard gives me a spell. So that's good to know. And then we have to find the blue city. There will also be the green city. So the blue city will be the necropolis, so it will be replaced, but the green city is just friendly, so the dummy and I do have a shield already, and I can just enter the city and interact. That's very nice. As usual, I did roll between the other heroes that are not played, so Wolfhog was out for the first roll, and it came up with Tovak again, and then I entered Wolfhog in his place and rolled again, and it came up with Goldix, and I think at that point I can't justify playing Goldix again, so I'm going with Tovak this time, and Goldix is my dummy. Going back to the scenario, so the graveyard has the special ability that it's always night rules in the graveyard. That's very interesting, because then you can use your spells with black mana in a graveyard even at day, but you do not get a black mana at day. But if you start your turn in a graveyard at night, you will get a black mana like in a glade. And since all glades are graveyards in the scenario, at least until I get to the green city, there will be a magical glade that stays a glade. I will not have access to glades, obviously. The opening tiles are quite interesting, so I revealed this tile and rotated it twice with a random tile orientation. So the monastery is now facing me, so there is an opportunity for an artifact here to burn it down. But more importantly, the monastery gives me access to the blood ritual, an advanced action that I absolutely adore, so I should pick that up. There's also another tile that I rotated 180 degrees, so now a keep is facing me. So that's also quite interesting, because it will allow me to level quite quickly and then continue the first day with more cards. But there is some, like, well, not rough, but at least some terrain that I would have to cross if I really want to take the keep and go then to the monastery. I'm not sure if I have time for all of this, so I do have to visit the graveyards anyway to liberate them and seal them. That's a condition to win, so you have to seal the 2 graveyards and defeat the necromancer. So it feels like I should make my way to the graveyard. Unfortunately, there's a swamp in the lake that makes it a bit more difficult to get to the graveyard, but then again, I do not have to seal it in the first day. There's also a dungeon, quite interesting. So last time I played, I did not have a dungeon at all, and having access to a spell on artifact that early is very good. And here's a white crystal mine in the village as well. Since we are using Blizz rules, I have 4 dice in the source. Funnily enough, I have all basic colors as the initial source. And the unit offer also contains of 4 units this time, 3 more than player count. Usually I have only 3 units in solo. And it shows the peasants, the magic familiars, which I can't hire at glades obviously because there is none, the Utem swordsmen and the guardian golems, which I love. But they are also the most difficult to hire. I can pick up the familiars in the monastery if I go this route, but it takes, well, as I always say, this is why I don't like them too much. They take too much mana in my opinion. They are quite flexible, but then they are not that good that I want to spend that much mana on them. The swordsmen are quite solid. They're just good, have good armor. They have a good attack and block of 3, so an odd amount that usually helps quite a lot. And if you wound them, you even get the double amount. But healing a level 2 unit is not that desirable, I would say. And the peasants are, as always, just a cheap unit to pick up, which are quite flexible, so they are pretty much any basic effect of any of your starting cards. That's good. There's nothing to scoff at. But the golems give you really a lot of options with physical resistance. I do remember from the factions that obviously the elementalists are much more into elemental attacks, whereas the necromancers really are into physical attacks. So having a unit with physical resistance will probably help a lot. So the golems might be something I want to pick up, and the only way to pick them up currently is the keep. So that's a plus point to going for the keep early. In the advanced action offer, I do have pathfinding, which is a really good movement skill. But I also have Heroic Tale, which is a 3 and 6 influence card, so one of the better influence cards. And seeing that I want to learn Blood Ritual and higher stuff, I'm really interested in picking up Heroic Tale. So it might be a play to go to the keep, level up, pick up Heroic Tale, then hire the Guardian Golems, and then go on to the monastery and learn Blood Ritual with my regular influence cards. But I do have Threaten in the opening hand already. I do have Magic Talent and the offer as well. That's also quite interesting because it allows me to cast spells from the offer. And speaking about the spell offer, we have Meditation and Trance, which can prolong your turns, or your rounds. That's interesting. And the Offering Sacrifice is very powerful, but it does mean you have to prepare a lot, or you just use it for offering and just play for crystals. That's also fine, obviously. And then there's Tremor and Earthquake, so the MVP skill for fortified sites, which the Necropolis is not, I think. So when I'm fighting the Necromancer and his entourage, I can just use a range attack, so I think it's not that important in this scenario to pick that up, actually. Which brings me to my opening hand, which is a lot of movement with stamina. Double stamina, also swiftness, but usually I want to pick up the combo with concentration. So if we draw that, then we have the combo already, for example, for the monastery to have a stab at an easy artifact. Threaten I do not like that much in the opening hand, unless I'm going for the monastery right away and just hire. And just to point it out, in the Bliss rules, you're starting with 1 fame and +2 reputation, so you add a +1 bonus. So Threaten alone with the red source type would already give me influence 6, which is enough to learn the Blood Ritual. So an opening move could be to just walk to the monastery, use Threaten, and just learn Blood Ritual. And then with the next turn, burn it down, basically. That would mean it makes hiring, well, a lot more difficult. So I would then have to take the keep, and then I'm out of position with the graveyard. And at night, the graveyard in the forest is obviously not ideal. So yeah, we have to think about what we want to go for first, if you want to go for the keep or for the monastery, and then a dungeon, for example. So yeah, we have to think about that. And having the Cold Toughness in the opening hand, which is a good block skill, but we don't have anything that produces attack except for Swiftness, which only produces attack if you power it. So I don't think Battle is what I should go for our first move. Moving to the keep as is probably not a good idea, but we do have still the tactic selection to think about. So as usual, I'm drawn to rethink, for example, to get rid of Threaten, maybe also 1 stamina, but then again, if I want to go to the keep, that's 6 movement. If I want to go to the monastery without paying mana to then play Threaten again, then 2 stamina is actually quite nice to have. And there's a very easy movement path here through plains that brings me into position to reveal more tiles. It's really good, so I don't need that much movement. So maybe I should just go with the opening hand and go for the monastery. Or I go with Rethink, get rid of the Threaten, the stamina, maybe even the Cold Toughness, and see what I replace them with. But probably not Cold Toughness. We should really look at the defenders. This makes a lot of difference, obviously. But going through the forest just to see the defenders, well, it's an opportunity cost, so to speak. It's 1 more movement to then have the ability to decide where I want to continue with. As for the zombie horde here, I didn't mention that the tokens from the factions do have less fame than the regular tokens, so it's just 2 in this case, because you do get a faction token, but you can trade in the faction token for a fame on any interaction. If you don't want to use it for anything else, you can also trade them for 3 influence or just use them for the effect. And with the Bliss rules, 2 fame is actually enough to level. But this token is so far out of position that it's unrealistic to battle against. So there's a lake and a swamp in there. So maybe when I move to the graveyard, I could think about killing them, but I will probably just leave them be. Also, one particularity about the scenario is that Rampaging Enemy, if I reveal them, so not the starting ones, they will have pursuit, so they will start moving towards me, so I pretty much have to battle them. So we have to keep that in mind when we progress. If we think about Dummy for a second, he has 2 green crystals already and the blue, so if we give him Pathfinding, he will get a card where he already has 2 crystals from, and if we do not pick up Meditation ourselves, he will even have a 3rd crystal. So it's something that we have to keep in mind, that maybe want to pick up Pathfinding after all. It could be a strategy to just move on quite far and reveal quite early, especially with this path here. So maybe we do pick up the Pathfinding with the first level up. If we pick up the Blood Ritual right away, then burn down the monastery to level. As I said, then hiring will be difficult anyway, so maybe we do not need to pick up Heroic Tale right away. So maybe it's pathfinding then and then just continue, which would also allow us to play these 2 stamina just without any mana to have in the first turn already pick up Blood Ritual. This will give us access to a lot of mana, but it also means that we have to deal with the wound in some way. And I don't think Tovak has any skills that help you with healing. He has one to just like fight through the pain or something like that you can swap out a wound with a card, but it doesn't, well, it just means you can ignore 1 wound in the deck probably, or even multiple if it's a once per turn skill. I think it is. So if you once per turn can replace a wound with any card from your deck, they do not hinder you as much, so maybe you just don't have to deal with them. Maybe that's the trick here with Tovak. So I'm liking this more and more to go for this first opening, to just go to the monastery with these 2 cards, use Threaten. I will use my +1 reputation bonus from the Blizz rules, but I will have 2 cards left, which are both battle cards, which will come in handy for burning it down then. This will really plunge me into negative territory, so I'm at -1 quite quickly. And I do want to hire, or at least I should think about it. I should not end the first day without having hired anything. So we should probably then move on, try to reveal and see where we can hire stuff. If there's any mage tower, another keep, or another monastery, something like this would already be enough. Or do I want to hire the magic familiars after all before burning it down? But I don't think I can level 3 times to pick up another advanced action, so if I'm not taking pathfinding, the dummy will pick it up. And this pretty much means that if I do not want to, make it difficult to play against the dummy, I do need pathfinding instead of Heroic Tale. One thing to note already is that pathfinding does not reduce the movement cost of planes further, so it stays at 2. It just means that the other territory is easier to cross. But this might still be an advantage when we reveal more tiles with more difficult terrain, or we can use it to just go to the keep with movement cost of 4. That might also be an option, because this would then allow me at least to try and hire something, even though I will probably be at -1 reputation bonus, so a -1 influence bonus due to reputation, I mean, which means that hiring stuff in the keep already takes 7 or 8 influence, so I really need, more influence cards, and if I already played that, I only have the promise left and the improvisation, so it might be hard. I'm not sure I want to go there. Well, I can circle around like this, but it's a lot of movement. But I do have pathfinding then, so technically I think I can allow me to travel a bit farther than you usually should. But maybe I should not circle around after all. Maybe I can move here, reveal, and then use the pathfinding for the rough terrain that I'm revealing there. So I should probably just leave the keep be and just progress here. Maybe the graveyard is something I want to take in the first night, even though it does have rough movement costs at night. But if I power pathfinding, the move cost of all terrain is reduced to 2, so even the graveyard in the forest at night will still have a movement cost of 2. I think I'm slowly talking myself into that plan. So let's talk about tactics. I would have 2 cards left, so I can take planning. I don't rethink then, because I already made use of my starting hand and I want to keep the cards. I'm not that fond of early bird in right moment. Great start probably doesn't do much for me, because after my first turn I would then just draw 1 more card and then the bonus is gone anyway. So there's only the option to mana steal, which could allow me to keep 1 movement card, but I probably do not want to keep a movement card because I'm drawing the pathfinding anyway after leveling. But I'm not leveling, so my point is that if I play these 3 cards, I have 2 battle cards left, I'm drawing 3 cards, and with those I have to burn down a monastery, and then I will get another movement card. So I think preserving a stamina with mana steal doesn't do much for me, and that pretty much leaves planning, although that might mean that the dummy is going before me. Well, it's a 2 to 3 chance. I think I'm willing to take that, because then I even draw up more cards. I will have 6 cards for burning it down. Yeah, I like that plan. So the dummy picks up the tactic early bird. Okay, so he's going before me, but he at least burns a tactic that I'm not interested in. So Goldex will go before me. So let's see what he's up to. He plays red, green, and white, which means there's no additional card. So Tovak steps through the portal, and it's our first turn. And as planned, I will use the 2 movement cards to go to the monastery, and then use Threaten with a red source die to create influence 6 with the bonus from the reputation, which is enough to pick up the blood ritual, which goes on top of our deck. But we do lose the reputation at the end of turn. But this was the turn we already planned to do, and I think there's nothing else to do, so let's reroll the die. Comes a blue, clean up the cards that we have played, and then we are drawing 4 cards due to planning, since we still had 2 cards in the hand, and the first one will be the blood ritual, obviously. And then we have a promise that doesn't help, a rage, that's good, and an instinct, that's also good. Alright, so continuing with the plan. Well, after the dummy's first turn, I will probably burn down a monastery because there's nothing else to do with the monastery, and passing on a level up and an artifact is probably not a good idea. Although we do not have the concentration swiftness combo, but I think we have enough block and attack to just deal with a token that comes up. At least I hope so. We will see, I guess. So let's see what the dummy does in his second turn. It's blue, white, and white. So again, he doesn't have white crystal, no more additional cards that are being revealed. And I think I'm burning it down. The alternative would be to hide a magic familiars. So we would have with instinct a card that gives us influence and promise. So we could pick up the familiars. That's something we should really think about, because after burning it down, it will become quite hard to hire something. And hopefully with the enemy from the monastery and the Bliss rules, we will be able to get to our second command slot quite quickly. Not with the first enemy, obviously, but with anything else. So there would even be the chance to hire something else. But if we don't start now, we will never fill 2 command slots, I think. We can boost everything but the attack of the familiars. Movement would help with the plan to progress quickly. Heal could be interesting, because they won't help us with burning it down. But if we take wounds and, for example, take a wound through to Blood Ritual, then the familiars can just heal me. They do have heal 2 anyway, so it's not important that we boost that. Boosting the block to 7 with cold toughness. Why? Maybe not. Influence could be interesting because it doubles as movement, so it's either 3 or 5 move or influence. So it's either good for exploring or to hire something else. It's actually something I like quite a lot. And to hire them, we would need 6 influence, which is a powered promise. But where's the second mana coming from? If I'm using the Blood Ritual now, I won't have it available for the Battle in the Monastery. Could get a crystal, and a red one would even be good because the source is not showing red. So maybe that's a good play. I think I like that more than just burning it down. So we can burn it down right afterwards. But we have to keep in mind to have a crystal at the end of round, otherwise we can't keep them. They always feel to me like a trap because they're costing so much mana. But there's nothing else we can hire here. And if I do play more cards now, I might have the concentration combo in hand, which might trivialize the enemy we are picking. It's not guaranteed, but not by any stretch of the imagination. But it's something that could happen, and it's always nice to just dungeon or a monastery defender enemy just kill in range. So let's think about this. We could use instinct and promise to get enough influence. So we have to power either one of those to get to 6 to actually hire them. And we do have to spend another mana to then actually get them. So that's an additional cost. So I think this is why I need to play Blood Ritual, because I can get only 1 mana from the source and I don't have any crystals. So Blood Ritual would give us a wound. I cannot power it because I do not have red mana in the source, but I think that's okay, because I do want to have a crystal anyway. So the basic effect gives us a wound, a red crystal, which I will probably keep, and then any mana token of any color, including non-basic. So I can now pick whatever I like, and I can pick 1 die from the source, obviously. So we should really think about what to power here. I could still use the white die. Well, so I don't have a red to power the instinct, so I have to power the promise. And the question is, do I want to burn the white die now? Or do I power it with the token I generate from here? So I can power either of them, it doesn't matter. But then I have to boost an ability with a die from the source. If I want to boost move and influence, which I was talking about, it's a white mana as well, so it wouldn't matter. But if we boost block, for example, then we would take one of the 2 blue source die. But I think I like move and influence far too much to not go for that. Attack 3 and block 4 are good on their own. And I do have block, range attack and attack cards already. So adding these 2 options for the battle would be enough, I think. Heal 2 will be enough to heal this wound and maybe another wound we get. Well, if we are taking wounds, then it's probably a lot more. So going for green might also be an option. But I think I want to keep the green die for concentration. I do have a red crystal for the rage. Blue is not an issue. And this on its own is probably not interesting, because there's nothing that 3 range attack kills. So I do need a concentration, and it's green again. And if I have another swiftness, I won't have 2 mana anyway. So I think I want to try to go for the move or influence combination, which means that we need 2 white mana. Well, we need at least 1 white mana. And then, so if you power it with the Blood Ritual token, we have to take the white die. If we power it from the source, it has to be the white, and then we power it like this. So it doesn't matter at all. So let's just power promise with the source die and use the Blood Ritual's white token for the familiars. And yeah, let's mark this here, that we have recruited them with white mana. So I'm keeping that there, which means that we do have a wound in hand. So we draw less. That's a bit sad. But I think overall picking up a unit at that point is quite good. So let's lock that in. The die stays white, that's nice, it's better than blue. We've played these cards, the wound stays in hand, and since we are still having planning with more than 2 cards even, it's just 2 cards that we draw. It's Crystallize and the mana draw. Okay, so lots of mana options. Unfortunately no concentration, and it's the 3rd turn of the dummy. And he plays red, green and red. So red is the other color where he does not have crystals from. Okay, so he's playing it really slow. That might be to our advantage because we can make another turn where we just stall for a bit. We could even have thought about healing the wound in the monastery once it's created, but we would have needed 2 more influence, which we did not have access to unless we paid another mana from somewhere. Maybe the crystal, but it's kind of pointless. So we would not have the crystal, but also not the wound. And I think I'd rather take the crystal at that point. So at this point, I have to think about if I can take a Mage Tower unit, which is not fortified, with just the cool toughness, the swiftness, and the rage, because those won't have anything to do with me when burning it down. Mana will probably be not an issue, because I can recolor mana and I can use 2 source ties and I have a crystal, so I can power probably all of them if I want to. But do 3 powered cards defeat everything, and we have to think that through. Alright, so the problem really is here that there are a lot of tokens that we can easily defeat, but there are some that really makes trouble. For example, the sorcerers right away, due to the arcane immunity, they have an attack of 6 and an armor of 6, so cold toughness is not on its own block 6 even if powered, so we need another card to even block them, and then getting up to 6 damage. It's also not that easy, because if we power them both at 7, that's okay, but, well, we can't block them then. Well, we can by playing a card sideways, I guess. But we need to power all 3, then we probably can't play a card sideways. And there are the physical resistant enemies, where this attack 7 is not enough, so we need another sideways card again. And depending on if they have a fire attack, then they're easy to block. If they have an ice attack, then they are really not easy to block. But then they would just, in quotes, just generate 2 wounds. So I think overall it's possible, it's a bit of a gamble. And it might be annoying. And especially sorcerers will just wreck us unless we block them, because they have an assassinated poison, and 6 attack would be 3 wounds and 3 into the discard pile. It's a no-go, so we probably have to power this with a die, play something sideways, and at that point I'm not sure we can even kill them. Well, we can. If we use the crystal, we have an attack 4, and then 2 cards sideways would already be 6, so yeah. So I think the main point here is, do we want to play another card and stall for a bit? For example, just play Crystallize, pick up another crystal, and draw a replacement card. It might even be in concentration. Well, it's by no way a guarantee, but it might be any other combat card that actually helps us. The dummy has played so slow that this is an opportunity or a possibility. And I think I've just picked up the Magic Familiars for exactly the reason that if we pick up a lot of wounds, that we can at least heal some of them. And if we draw the Tranquility, we can probably heal the rest of the wounds. So is it a big deal? And I think I just want to keep the momentum and just keep going, so let's try it. Let's go for it. Let's see. Might be a really bad decision, but yeah, you have to decide something. Let's go on. Let's see what the defenders of the monastery are and if we can burn it down safely. So we are drawing the defender token, but first we will get a reputation penalty of 3. So we managed to get to -1 quite quickly, even though we are playing blitz rules. And the defenders are fire mages. Well, that's lucky, I think, because cold toughness is just, if I power it, it's ice block 5, but it gets +1 ice block for each ability or color of attack depicted on the enemy token. Unless it's arcane immune, that's also a problem with the sorcerers. But I'm not familiar enough with Tovak to judge if the fire resistance is actually an ability, so I have to look that up. But if it is so, then it would be perfect, because then just the blue mana will just block the fire attack of 6, because ice blocks what you need against fire attack. And then we just need an attack of 5, so we can either power the rage or the swiftness and just play the rage regularly. So if we just use the mana draw, for example, we could use another source die, like the white one, and then this would be an attack of 5, and then together we will just kill them. So I have to look that up. So that was quite easy. The official FAQ just clarifies this quite nicely. So the fire resistance is an ability of the token. By powering cold toughness, I will have an ice block of 6. They have a fire attack of 6. That couldn't be more perfect. And then the powered swiftness and a regular rage will be an attack of 5. That just kills the token. So I can hold on to the crystallize, but I do need a mana draw for the 2 source dice. So the wound and the crystallize I will keep, and I fortunately cannot use the crystallize. But yeah, this will give me 5 fame. That will make me level. And with regular bliss rules, I should be at a fame of 7 now. By crossing each level boundary, you get an extra fame. So I'm almost already level twice. That's quite nice. But let's reroll the 2 source dice first. Comes up red and green. And yeah, we played all these cards to burn it down. We do mark the monastery with one of our shields. So we are proceeding to the combat rewards, which is an artifact. So the choice is between the Amulet of the Sun interesting. So getting a gold mana token if played during the night. Forests have their movement cost reduced to 3. You can use gold mana and reveal garrisons of nearby fortified sites and or ruins as if it were day. Or the Horn of Wrath, which is just a siege attack of 5, which might wound you, and if you break it you get a siege attack up to 10, but you might get a lot of wounds. The Amulet of Sun, also if you break it, you get the same effect, but you get 3 gold tokens instead of just 1, so a lot of mana. But in particular it doesn't have spells. So seeing that we have a dungeon ahead, and the enemies are not even fortified, so even range attack would be enough, the Horn of Wrath might be really good against this. Or it will give us a shot at the graveyard, because we don't know these enemies. But looking at the options for these enemies, there are the Shrouded Necromancers, for example, that are fortified with an armor of 5, so having the Horn of Wrath is just insanely good against them. So I think the Horn is just really good here, even though we are not playing in a scenario where there is a fortified enemy at the end. I think it's just far too good to pass on. Although I do need to solve mana issues still, but I do have the Blood Ritual. So I think, yeah, that's actually settles it. I think since we already picked up an advanced action that gives us mana, I think we definitely go with the Horn of Wrath. So this was the combat reward, and we are now proceeding to the level up. And the skill choice is between I Don't Give a Damn, which means that sideways played cards once per turn give you +2 instead of +1. And if it's any advanced card, so a spell, an artifact, or an advanced action card, it actually gives +3. That sounds quite solid actually, so it's already a good choice. But the other skill option is Double Time, which gives +2 movement at day and +1 movement at night. This requires you to play a card sideways, but it's obviously much more flexible because you can create attack, block, and influence as well, not only move. So there's no dummy skill yet to choose from, even though we want to pick up Pathfinding because Goldix has 2 green crystals and maybe we get a third one. So I think if we pick up Pathfinding, we probably don't want to pick up Double Time as well. We'd rather take something that helps us with hiring later on and helps us in all the battles and makes us quite versatile. So I'm thinking of going with I Don't Give a Damn. So we put that here, maybe move the discard here somewhere. And the next skill that we could pick from Goldix is actually Flight. That's quite interesting, very nice. So we still need to pick an advanced action, and I think I like Magic Talent, but it's the least pressing one. For the reason already explained, Pathfinding should really go. Heroic Tale is good, but I just burned down the only opportunity to interact for a while, unless I want to go to the keep now, and I think we should really press on. So I'm picking Pathfinding. We do even have 2 green Source Tires, so we will definitely be able to power it, so I think that's a good choice. And the advanced action replacement is Ice Bolt, which is good. Nice skill to have. Alright, so we still have 2 cards in hand, even though one is a wound. I think that doesn't matter. So planning still kicks in, and we are drawing 4 cards. So there's Pathfinding, obviously. Then we have the Horn of Wrath also, obviously, but I already forgot, to be honest. Another March and a Tranquility that allows me to heal my wound. So we do have to keep an eye on the dummy because it's going before us and his deck is shrinking quicker than we shrink ours. And he was playing blue, and green. So I was already happy that he played 2 blue, but then he ended up playing a green as well. So of the remaining 4 cards, he's playing 2 more. So another green and another blue, but it doesn't matter. So he will exhaust the deck next turn anyway. So we will have 3 turns left. So we know that already. We do still have 4 cards. So with 3 turns, we should probably speed up a little bit. So it is tempting to just heal the Wound of Tranquility. This already frees up 2 cards. So I think this turn will probably be movement and healing. Then if we do not use a Source Die, but that's stupid actually to not do that, then we could crystallize and we just keep the Horn of Wrath for the dungeon, for example. So I don't think I want to blow out these cards just without powering them. This would just bring me here and reveal another tile. I think that's not good enough. So we probably will power the March, go here, reveal, use Tranquility with the wound, and then just draw the remaining deck, and then we still have 2 turns left to think about what to do. I think that's the better play. So we definitely power the March, not the Pathfinding, because the terrain is nothing we need to worry about currently. So Tovak will move to the plains and then reveal the first countryside tile. We have to think about that. If there are rampaging enemies, they will have pursuit, so they will start going after me. But I think that's okay. So the die comes up white, so we rotate the tile once. So this is the usual orientation, and we rotate it towards white, so once, which brings these rampaging enemies closer to us, and there's the other graveyard. So the rampaging enemy will have pursuit in the following turn, so not in the current turn. So pursuit means that at the end of my own movement phase, the enemy token will move towards me. but I read it as that this only starts in the next turn, so not the current turn, where I do the revealing. So I do reveal in my movement phase, so if it would have pursued right away, there would be no choice, and once I end movement, well, it just attacks me. And the second graveyard is stronger, so it's a green and a brown enemy, but the reward will also be a spell, not an advanced action like with the other graveyard. The rampaging enemy is a gibbering ghoul, or it's a horde of gibbering ghouls, so the horn would just kill them. That's good to know. So if we move into this space next turn and the movement, we will be attacked. I'm actually not sure if this counts as the action for the turn. It probably does. So yeah, it's pretty much like rampaging enemies. So once you are in attack, that's your action for the turn. So if I would move there with the intent to go into the dungeon, but the pursued enemies attack me, then I can't take the dungeon in this turn. But that was the move 4 from the march, to move here in the reveal. So that's played. I think I want to get rid of the wound to see more cards. So I'm using Tranquility to throw away a wound and heal. So these two are played. So we'll have these cards left, and there's no way to get a mana token to crystallize. We could think about moving on, because as said, the pursuit will only start at the next turn. But it doesn't matter if you're already there. If we enter our movement phase, they still attack me, so it's quite pointless to move there now. But we could do that if I don't give a damn with Crystallize. Although it would be a bit sad to not, well, use the Crystallize effect to stock up on crystals. We could use the Magic Familiars now for move 5. So this could bring us, for example, into the graveyard here. So to start attacking this, getting advanced action and sealing it afterwards. And on the way, you can still reveal that tile. Although there's no rush, we could do that before taking the graveyard. But then again, I do have Pathfinding in my hand still, so maybe I keep Crystallize, use the Pathfinding to reveal, and use the Magic Familiars for move 5. But I'm not sure if I should use the Familiars outside of the graveyard, because we have to defeat 2 tokens, so having a unit is probably the better choice here. But where do I hire? On that space I only have the village, and the village will only give me access to the peasants, so I'm really hoping for a mage tower or a keep. We could also move on and just kill these rampaging enemies. And then we are on the dungeon and we can reveal and take the dungeon next turn. I think that might be the play here. So I don't see an upcoming turn where we do have a lot of mana to crystallize. We have already used mana draw. So I think I want to hold on to this to then reveal and move on, because we can reduce the movement cost of the forest by the 2/2, even if we don't power it. So we could reveal next turn and move into the graveyard. So we can use I Can Give a Damn in this turn to move on to the dungeon. It's just movement 2, and then just use the Horn of Wrath to kill these enemies. And I should hold on or hold back with Tranquility. If the horn wounds me, I will probably want to heal the wound with Tranquility, or maybe even then use the Magic Familiars. So maybe I was too hasty with this, so let's roll that back. There was no information revealed. So we've played the march, then this was logged in, and then we continue. We don't reveal right away, or do we? I think I want to keep that to go to the graveyard. And the wound, as said, I want to know the outcome of the Horn of Wrath and then think about what to do. So is this stupid? I think it's just efficient. In this turn to get into position, well, this would be much better in the dungeon, obviously, or for the graveyard, instead of just one measly rampaging enemy. But I don't have any other way to defeat them, or do I? I can block the attack with the Familiars, but I don't have any form of attack currently. And the Familiars would not be able or not enough to kill them. And if I don't block them, they are vampiric, so they will have enough armor 5. So I think I do still have swiftness and concentration in deck, so I know I will get the combo, and I think this has to be enough for the dungeon. So we can't rely on this, and we don't have to take the graveyard now. We could, if in this turn we kill this, we will level again. We can then enter the dungeon and next time for the concentrate swiftness, and as a final turn move into the graveyard. So we are in position for the next night and reveal another tile. This might be a misplay, but I think I want to keep the momentum again and play the Horn of Wrath, knowing that I will have a combination that will help with the dungeon enemy. So we are killing this token here. This was to mark pursuit as per the rules. So we will just kill them at range with the Horn of Wrath, and we use this die here to figure out if we are wounded or not. It's black or red, so it comes up green, so we are in the clear. So we can just heal the one wound with Tranquility, don't have to think about this. This makes it much easier, obviously. And we do get 2 fame. So again, we are at 10 now from 7 because we crossed another threshold. At the end of turn we will level, but there's no need to or no gain in not doing this right away, so we don't forget. And since this is a faction token or a faction enemy, we will get a faction token now as a reward. So the first one here. And this is an Orb of Twilight. This allows us to switch black die into gold or gold die into black. So that's really, really nice. At day you can take a depleted die for any mana, and at night you can take a depleted die to be black mana, so that's really nice to have. So let's put that over here and make a separate pile for the faction enemies. And since this was Rampaging enemy, I will get a reputation, so I'm in the clear again with my influence bonus. So we are back at 0, and all these things were played. This once per turn skill was used, so this is all discarded. But I did not remember that I am having planning, as I'm only having 1 card, so we are only drawing up to 5 cards, but there's only 4 cards left, so we will draw them anyway. So there shouldn't be big surprises in here. Okay, there's another March, there's a Rage, and then this should be Concentrated Swiftness, which it is. So I should have rerolled the green die that we put on the March, so it comes up golden, so we have all the options that we want. Although the dungeon has night rules, so I'm not sure I can use that in a dungeon, but we do have the Orb of Twilight. Okay, so the dummy will play his last 2 cards, so we have 2 turns now, and the plan was to just go into the dungeon. The movement cards won't help, obviously. We do have to concentrate swiftness that hopefully just kills the enemy. If not, we have to make do with some combination here with Rage, and we still have the I don't give a damn to put on any of these cards. This might also be the reason why we do not reveal right now, because we might want to play one of them sideways, and we want another movement card to go to the graveyard. Hopefully we will level again. That would also allow us for the last turn to play, for example, Magic Talent, or the Ice Bolt to just gain a crystal. Probably Ice Bolt is a good pickup then. It's more range attack, and all these enemies are not fortified in the scenario. So yeah, let's go into the dungeon, I think. The only problem that we should think about is that the Magic Familiars will not help us, so we will have them unused still. But this might give us a play that we can use them for movement to reveal the tile, or maybe if we don't need the card, we can reveal, maybe move somewhere that we can interact to hire something. But then again, we don't have the time to assault a keep or a mage tower and hire then, because that would be 2 turns, so we would have to do that now. But I don't see me not taking the dungeon this day, because this would be a gamble anyway. Well, not a gamble in the sense that if we reveal now, then we can decide later, but if we want to move somewhere, we should really power this. And if you power the Magic Familiars, yeah, no, I don't think that makes any sense. So probably we'll use them for movement to just reveal more. Or is there a play where we use pathfinding with this to... No, we have to take the keep anyway. There's nothing where we can hire these things, and well, except if we pick up peasants, but I don't think that's worth it. So I'm lagging a bit behind with hiring, but I did already pick up an artifact, and I will pick up another spell or an artifact. So I think that's good enough, has to be good enough. Alright, let's just proceed with the dungeon enemy. And the enemy is a Medusa, like the best pick you can get, because the concentrated swiftness just kills it. It even has just 4 armor, so we are picking up the green die from the source, killing the Medusa with range attack 5, so it's dead. That's 5 fame, makes me level and I get an extra fame. Blizz rules, I'm keeping these cards. Die is rearward green. That feels a bit too easy, but that's the point with these combinations, that for many of these tokens that you can draw, I think for at least 50% or something like this, for Goldix it's even better. Obviously, that's just enough, and it's so nice. So we do mark the dungeon with a shield, and again we have to take the reward first and then process the level up. So let's roll for the reward. So it comes up golden, which I think is an artifact. Yeah, so the non-standard colors are a spell, and all these standard colors, well, actually it is a spell. That shouldn't be too hard to remember, but yeah, there's a lot of things you can remember or should remember in Mage Knight. So it's a non-standard color, so it's a spell. I think that might even be good, to be honest, because we do already have an artifact, and picking up a spell is also quite nice. And there is a graveyard, so we are playing a graveyard scenario where at night we will be able to produce black mana, so we can even think about what to do with a black mana. For example, trance would allow me to pick the cards of the discard pile if you do a first nice assault, and I then cast trance with the black mana I get from the graveyard. In the subsequent turn I can just put like good cards like concentration or stuff like this, or the Horn of Wrath even, back into my deck. That might be a play. Earthquake and Sacrifice are only useful if you are in battle, so once we get the black mana from the graveyard we would have to move somewhere to use this. Tremor will still be good because we are battling against 2 tokens, so unless they are Arcane immune, this will account for a reduction of 4 for an armor. So in total I mean, or 3 if we just concentrate on one enemy. And the offering will give us a lot of crystals. And seeing that we do have the Magic Familiars, maybe the offering is actually the way to go. So let's see, we'll get another card from the level up and another skill, and then we will have one more turn. So if you take the offering, I could even discard like almost all the cards. Well, I will get another one, so all but 1 card to get a lot of crystals. And if I pick up the Ice Bolt, I can just toss that for a blue crystal as well, so we will have an insane amount of crystals. But I will probably use this to move, which also means that we won't even have another mana to... Well, if you just play that without powering it, it will already move us to the graveyard, so that's nice. So I think I like offering. The sacrifice pound will allow me to get a huge amount of range attack, and as I've explained at the beginning, if I play with an level 8 Necromancer, it already has with an armor of 4, it has 32 life or armor. So we do need a lot of attack. So if we can come up with sacrifice with, I think, something like 18 range attack already. Yeah, so it's up to 3 times 6. That would be insanely good to reduce the level of him by at least 4.5. So if we combine this with like a swiftness, something like this, so it even be 5 levels. That's huge. Which also means that we would not give the dummy a red crystal, but most likely to green if we don't pick up Tremor as well. Tremors is still good against the army because we are fighting against 5 tokens, so like 4 tokens and the enemy, but he counts as well. But he's arcane immune, so we don't have to forget that, so he can't be reduced. So Tremor will not work on this. It would trivialize him anyway, because it's just level times the armor. If you reduce the armor to 1, for example, it's just a level left. So yeah, so it doesn't work again against him anyway. Yeah, I think that settles it. Let's just pick the offering. So there's the Underground Trail, Underground Attack as a refresher, and that was the reward from the dungeon. So we proceed to the level up. And I could even take flight now if I pick up Heroic Tail. But let's see what the skills of Tovak are first. So it's the Resistance Break, which just lowers the enemy armor by 1 for each type of resistance it has. So in the worst case for the enemy token, it's -3. That's good. So the more resistance the enemy token has, the better it is. And reducing armor is always better than just getting attack or range attack, because it means that your inefficient attacks are, well, the one reduction will really be 1 armor, not like with 2 attack, for example, against an enemy with a measuring assistance where it's just 1. And the other skill is the Who Needs Magic, so the other sideways skill where you get 2 instead of 1 once per turn, and if you don't use a source die you get 3. I don't think I want to stack up on multiple of these skills because they in the end just mean that you are not using your cards for their intended purpose. 2 means it's a regular card play with unpowered, yeah, like at least with the regular deed cards, and not using a source die is more often than not what you want to do. And again, I already have one skill of this kind, so I think I'd rather take the Resistance Break or the Flight. So do I want to Heroic Tail and pick up the Flight, still take the Resistance Break, but I think I want to give the dummy a white card because he doesn't have any crystals, and there's nothing I can do now with the influence I would get. Magic Talent I like a lot because I can then use the Spell Offer, and the Ice Ball would just give me crystals. And to be honest, the blue card I'm not picking up, I will most likely remove with Control of the Offers to not give it to the dummy later on. So it's really a decision between Magic Talent and Ice Bolt, I think, which means that I do have to take Resistance Break. I'm not sure these faction tokens have too many resistances, but there's not only these enemies we are fighting, so I think it's okay. Again, it doesn't work against arcane immune enemies, so not against the Necromancer, and also not against some of the tokens. Well, there's one that has a resistance, but also is arcane immune. So do I want to take the Ice Ball, which is range attack, which is good in this scenario, and gives me a crystal right now? Or do I want to take the Magic Talent? Well, I do draw the offering, so I will get a red crystal. Well, these would give me red and green, so it's quite lopsided from the mana I get. So blue would actually be quite welcome, but there are a lot of green spells in the offer currently, and I'm probably not removing Tremor, so there will be 2 green cards that I can play with Magic Talent next night. And I already added a green card to the deck. That's nice. Magic Talent is just so versatile. I can also learn a spell with it. Actually, I can do that with my last turn. If I power that, which would kind of work against the offering, because if I power that and the offering, I would need to use the crystal. So I'm just getting it back from the rage. And I still have to discard this card. This I want to move with. So there's almost no point in the offering. It would really work completely against the offering. So with the offering, I'm ending my turn with like 5 crystals, something like this. So I already have 1, 2, 3 from the offering side, like 5 crystals. If I take the Magic Talent and cast it, well, I do not need to cast. I can still use it for Magic Talent. Actually, that might be the point here. So I'm not using it to learn, but I'm tossing it also. I think that's a good combination, and the offering will give me a lot of range attack. I really want them both, but I don't think I want to keep the other counter around because I will not level up for a while. At least not a level up that gives me an advanced action card. Well, actually the graveyard will give me one. I completely forgot that. So once I liberate the graveyard, I do get an advanced action and I get a spell here. So I will be able to pick up the next card before it's given to the dummy. I think that settles it. And I don't think at that point it matters if I pick up the Ice Bolt or the Magic Talent, because I will turn them into crystals anywhere, either directly or indirect. Is there a world where I actually assault a graveyard? If I pick that now, I have range attack 3, but it's just a rage. I think it's quite suicidal. Well, there is the Magic Familiars, and the tokens have all 4 armor or more, so the Ice Bolt will not be able to kill anything. No, I think that's going too far. I could think about killing them, so moving there and killing them, that would be possible. because I do have the familiars still. So the rage and the familiars will just kill them. But again, I think I had a good plan with stocking up on crystals, and since I picked the offering, I think that's the way to go. Okay, so I think I will pick up the Ice Bolt because they help me with killing these enemies at range in the graveyard, and once I've liberated graveyard, I can then pick up Magic Talent. If I pick up Magic Talent now, I could use Tremor, for example, but I'm not sure that's better because it needs another card. Well, this needs a mana, but I will stock up on mana. So let's take the Ice Bolt. Replacement is an Ambush, which is a green card, so it's not helping with the considerations for the dummy deck. I should have thought about that probably, that even if I can pick up a card, I might want to pick up a card even worse for the Ami deck. Yeah, but it's done now, so this is decided. This was the reward, which gave me a spell, and then the level up, which gives me a resistance break, and I picked up the Ice Bolt. So that's the end of my turn. I'm drawing up to, well, I could draw up to 6, but I don't have 6 cards, so I'm drawing the Ice Bolt and the offering. The dummy announces the end of round, but I should probably reveal. I didn't think about that. Oh, I do have the familiar still. Okay, so I have lots of movement. Yeah, so let's play the familiars for 5 movement. I can still play Pathfinding afterwards to get my move and then do the reduction. I don't think the order matters here. I will not power it anyway, so we could just play that now for the move 2, reveal, and then use the familiars to move into this, just to be safe here. So we're revealing this tile here. Orientation comes up black, so it's a 180-degree rotation. So this is the regular orientation, and this is with all rotations. So it's quite a crowded tile with 2 mountains, some walls. There's a rampaging enemy that will have pursuit, so it will walk into the swamp after my next movement phase. There's a refugee camp and a monastery, so I could even higher there, but I would have to move here. And then I can still use the magic familiars for influence 5. That's good that I did this in this order. Won't do that. So even though this is just movement 4, I would have to, well, come up with movement 4, which I can do, obviously. Well, maybe I should, but I'm so out of position. I think I have to go to the graveyard now and then move on, because otherwise I have to backtrack at night and so on. I think it's not worth it. I do have to fill this slot, but I think I can do this next day. The monastery revealed a shield bash, and there's a mace. That's another opportunity for a spell and artifact. But yeah, I should concentrate on the mission, so we should take the graveyard at the beginning of the next night and then move on to the second graveyard, probably also remove that and then reveal the first quartile, so that the second day we can hire better units and then go to the necromancer. I think that should be the plan. So if I would have powered this, just to point it out, then the movement cost of Ultra would be 2. So the magic familiars would already give me enough movement to go here and even start revealing more, but I would need to reveal 2 more tiles to get to the core tiles. So yeah, I'm not sure this would be worth it, and I would leave all this stuff behind. And I did not power it, so it's the point is mute anyway. Alright, well, so what to do with the familiars? The influence would be nice, but where to spend it? I can't get to the monastery, it's far too... and I think I want to stick to the original plan. So I think I want to use them for movement after all. Well, I could use this to move into a grave. I'm always thinking about to be more efficient with killing stuff, but then I want to have so many crystals. So the point with offering is that you really need cards to sacrifice to get all these crystals. And if I ever want to use the sacrifice part, you have to get going with the crystals. So let's just use the movement here, even though it's wasteful, to just walk into the graveyard. So that's the movement there. Then I get a blue crystal. I'm playing the offering, which gives me a red crystal. Then I can sacrifice cards, which gives me a red and a green crystal. Which probably means that I will use a red crystal to keep the familiars, and they will have attack boosted, which is nice to help in the graveyard fight. So I don't think I made the most of the familiars, to be honest. But on the other hand, you should not be too restricted with the choice of a crystal color. And without a crystal being there, it would have been move 3, which would be quite fitting. So it's only 1 move point spent. So you're paying for the flexibility, and to be honest, you're also paying for the 5 armor. That's really huge for a level 2 enemy. And you can at some point just have them soak up the wounds and just drop them without paying another mana. But at that point, I won't let them go, obviously, because I won't have any units left. So this is all played. We don't need to reroll this. So it's the end of day 1. And we did pick up Blood Ritual. We did pick up the Frostbolt. We did pick up the Offering Spell and the Horn of Wrath as an artifact. And we did level 2 times. So I think we are right on track, to be honest. All right, so let's give the dummy the white card here and give him a green crystal from meditation. I will leave the Tremor, if not for anything else, then because it's green, and if we do not pick up spells, I want to stack up on green crystals. But a really interesting question is, do I toss the Magic Talent or not? Because if I do not, then there is a green and a blue card coming up, and I can't really justify taking the blue card to give the dummy the green. So I pretty much have to pick up ambush if I want to prevent this. It would be another move card that also increases a block or an attack, and a block +4 might actually be what I need against the Necromancer. So I think ambush is actually quite interesting. But as you can see, the choice between the two blue cards did matter in the end, because I did not end up picking up the other one, even though it's quite a nice card. Allowing you to cast any spell in the offer is quite flexible. But yeah, I think I want to toss it, and then I have to pick up the ambush. If I reel another green card, of course, then the point is mute again. Yeah, let's get rid of the... Well, otherwise, no. On the other hand, I do just have one crystal for blue, so that's actually not that bad of a card. So I should probably keep it, so I'm not forced into ambush. I can even take the card afterwards, and then remove it at the end of next day. So I think I'm leaving it as it is. So the advanced action of the refresh with an agility, which is quite an interesting card because I've picked up a lot of movement, and I can turn that movement into attack and even range attack at a ratio of 2-1. And range attack is quite good in this scenario. And the spell offer shows another green spell, which is Cure or Disease. So I'm readying my unit and getting rid of the tactic card. So 1 and 4 are burned. The shield badge of the monastery refreshes with pure magic. Interesting. And the silver units, so the offer refreshes 2 thugs, swordsmen, foresters, and another guardian golem. So I get another chance to hire them up after all. We do switch to the knight side and see what the first source is. So there's some black mana right away, and the green, blue, and white as well. We're shuffling the dummy deck. And finally we are shuffling our own deck, but we do have to pay the upkeep for the magic familiars. So we are tossing the crystal, and I don't think we want to improve the heal or the block, because we do not have that many crystals from that color, so we will pay a red. So we could have an attack 5, but we are still open on how to use them. The more I'm thinking about it, the refugee camp might be the way to go here, so we can hire whatever we want. If we level again, due to the graveyard here, we will have 2 open slots maybe. So going to the refugee camp might be a good idea. And the forest hopefully is not a big deal because we have pathfinding. So in this turn where we powered, we can just traverse everything with movement 2. So it's not the usual thing that you are on the wrong side of the forest at night. But from here to traverse it into either of these 2 places would mean we are stuck again. Then traversing it to the other place, yeah, it's probably doesn't feel right. Let's see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do still have to defeat the graveyard to liberate it. Okay, so the opening hand is 5 cards. There's the Ice Bolt right away. That's really good. A Threaten, it doesn't help. Cold Toughness, okay. A Swiftness, so another range attack. And a Rage. So we have to decide for another tactic. So in the Bliss scenario, if 4 source dies, I think Mana Surge is even less important. We already have black mana if this is what we want in the night. So if we don't change that, we will have the opportunity to cast a spell with black, for example, Sacrifice. But I don't think we need it now. Maybe we do have enough time this night to pick up Magic Talent from the reward here. Or maybe even just ambush, and then we probably level twice again if we keep our speed, because these are 2 tokens, these are 2 tokens, maybe we can even defeat them. Let's see. We could use preparation, but to pick up what card, which would be that important. So again, offering I don't want to play probably. Not for this, not for 2 green tokens, so that would just be offering. The Firebolt or the Ice Bolt I already have. The Horn of Wrath would be a pickup that we could use with preparation. But I'm not sure we need that for this first graveyard. I think it is all quite good for the Necropolis attack later on. So any of these 2 would be good for the second night, and the dummy cannot remove both of them. So I think I'd rather go for more turns again. So Long Night might be a pickup. I have a really good dummy deck. So Long Night gives me more likely than not more turns. And I don't need this. This is too conservative, and Mana Surge, as I already said, with 4 dice and 1 showing black already. I don't think that it's that important. Let's try Long Night. So there's a 1 in 5 chance that the dummy goes before me with the early bird. There was some dust spot, but I'm not sure what card this even is. But nevertheless, let's shuffle even a bit more. So dummy goes for Midnight Meditation. Okay, so he goes after me after all. And it's a tactic I don't particularly care about. So finally Tovak is going before the dummy, and we start with our first turn. So the mission is clear. I want to liberate the graveyard. So Threaten is not helping. I do have 2 range attack cards. I do have a block card. I do have an attack or block card. And I do have the familiars, which are quite versatile. And I do have, I don't give a damn for Threaten, so this is also doubling as an attack or block card. I have a resistance break. I don't think I need any more help here, so let's just enter the graveyard. And the defenders are, of course, the Shrouded Necromancer, where the Horn of Wrath would be so good. So maybe we should have taken preparation after all and pick up the Horn of Wrath. And just the second zombie horde that's already lying here. So mostly an annoying token, as with the orcs. 3 attacks of 1, but they are cumbersome, so any card sideways will just remove one of the attacks. But this is also why the Guardian Golems are so good. Like the physical attacks, you can just bump them into them, just one, so it's not like that efficient. Just ignoring one attack is always nice. There are no other particular abilities here besides cumbersome. So no defend, for example, from the expansion. And I think the summoners will summon from their own faction. So they will just pick up one of the other tokens. Which is funny if they summon another summoner. So yeah. Alright, so the resistance break could reduce the armor. Because there are no under enemy token, there's no reason not to do that. They could reduce the armor of the zombie horde here by 1. So it's just 4. But then again, I don't get range attack 4 somehow. So if I want to kill them without dealing with all these annoying attacks, I would have to, well, pretty much play both range attack cards. It's quite expensive because I have to power them both with mana. So I'm not sure I want to do that. So I have to decide if I want to kill them in range before I will see the summon. I will probably use the cold toughness for the summon. But we do have to come up with attack of 10. That's 4, that's 6. So this is, well, all the attack we have. If we don't play the I don't give a damn or the resistance break. Again, the resistance break would be useless if we use range attack 6. So to defeat this token, we would have to already play card sideways and power the rage. But it's probably what I should do, although that's a lot of mana we are using here. So you're already giving away our crystals. But if I take these attacks here, they will all be wounds. So I would have to use the familiars to heal, or just pray that I draw a tranquility, but they will clog up my hand. So the familiars will be attack 5 already, so I forgot about that. So this will easily kill one of them. So I just need attack 5, which is again the rage with any other card, so maybe even the threaten. And then we just have to defend, in quotes just. But it will probably be easy enough to defend against the attack of the cold toughness. The only problem really is the corrupted priests that have a cold fire attack of 4. So this won't even help against them. But at that point, I think I'd rather just wound the familiars and let them have the 2 wounds them from this attack. This is it's just 1 card per attack. That's what's so sad about this. But if I don't use range, the resistance break would actually be helpful, so to not spend another card. So there's already 1 wound that we can ignore. I think I'm not using range. It's too inefficient. It's too much mana. Let's see what a summon is. So there's only 2 tokens left. So within these 3, there are the 2 corrupted priests, because we have the zombies here. Oh, there's only 1 corrupted priest. There's 1 Shrouded Necromancer, so it can't actually summon another Shrouded Necromancer. And there's only 1 corrupted priest. Okay, so we do have both the zombie hordes already on the board. We see one of the skeletal warriors, so there's 1 more somewhere. We do see one of the gibbering ghouls, so there's 1 more. And the corrupted priest, obviously. Yeah, nevertheless, we just draw this as a summon. And it's the gibbering ghoul. It's an attack of 4. So we could also block this with the magic familiars. But then again, the cold toughness does not give us so much attack as it gives block. So we probably want to still use the cold toughness to block this. This will take care of the attack. And the familiars will just kill them. Then a range with the resistance break will kill the zombie horde. And we do have to deal with 3 individual 1 attacks. So that's 1 less damage. That's another less damage. But I don't think I want to give up the Ice Bolt at that point. And I'd rather take a wound. But the point is to save mana. So we did save a lot of mana by not killing them in range. So we've only played a crystal so far. And I'm gaining a crystal together with a wound. But I think I'm okay with this. I might even play this for the crystal now. So I really have played all my cards because I do have the long night. Just to go with the theme of preserving my crystal. Alright, so I did not use I entered the graveyard, I did not use the range attack phase. They summoned the gibbering ghouls, which I block with the cold toughness and the source die. So these are taken care of. So I have to reroll this, and this card is discarded. And then the 3 attacks of this, 2 block 1s, individual block 1s, unfortunately I do need. And then I take 1 wound from the last attack. Actually, I'm stupid. They are cumbersome. So if I play the swiftness for move 2, I can use cumbersome to just reduce their attack. That's much better. So the threaten actually sideways is 1 block. This is 2 movement. And then I have taken care of all the wounds. So I don't get a wound. That's so nice. I did not pick up that in contrast to the orcs with 2 single attacks 1. It's a bit less annoying because they are cumbersome. So because you cannot group the attacks to block them all together, that would be easy. If it's just 3 block, then the cold toughness would even block them. But you can produce individual movement points and keep them in the current phase you are, and then pay them one by one to reduce the attack. So the move on 2 will actually reduce the attacks to 0. And just to point that out, I could even use I don't give a damn with the advanced action card for 3 movement, keep the threaten and the swiftness, and then all these attacks are taken care of. But I don't want to do that. And playing this with the threaten, for example, well, I could take a wound and keep the swiftness. Yeah, I think I'm content with playing the swiftness to get rid of 2 attacks. That seems worthwhile, and the threaten is currently not useful at all because I'm so off position for hiring. Yeah, that's quite useless. So I think I'm fine with paying these 2 cards to get rid of these attacks. So we did block the summon attack, we did block all of them or handle them. That's so nice. Then we activated Familiars for an attack of 5, which kills these ones here. So the Shrouded Necromancers and the Zombie Hordes I can just kill with a crystal and range it and a rage. So attack 4, due to resistance break, they only have 4 armor anyway. So this is also played. But I will then play the Ice Bolt for a blue crystal, because I don't think I will deal with this here, even though they only have 4 armor due to resistance break. But 4 doesn't, well, it doesn't help. And the Ice Bolt is in particular bad against them because they are ice resistant. So let's just pick up a blue crystal with this. Then they are both defeated for a combined fame of 5. So I'm at 21. And I will get 2 more faction tokens. Let's see what these are. So we have the Vampiric Chalice. That means that for each defeated token, up to 4, we can discard a wound at the end of turn. So it's not, unfortunately, healing them or preventing wounds from this battle, but it's just getting them into the discard pile. So that's, I think, one of the most useless tokens. In general, I do like them, but I don't in particular like the Vampiric Chalice. It might be good for an assault if you want to get rid of them, to just go on without a resting turn. So that's good. But besides that, it doesn't do much. It just shifts them to the discard pile, which it could do in a resting turn anyway. And much more interesting is the Vial of Toxin, which increases a physical attack because you're poisoning the enemy by 3, range attack with 2, or siege attack with 1. And now I'm kind of regretting to have gotten rid of the swiftness, because improving the swiftness to range attack 5 will just kill them. But there's another swiftness in the deck, maybe we draw it. So that's an insanely good token. This just means that if you then later turn the attack into an element, it won't work anymore because you are poisoning the enemy, not freezing them or burning them. So let's reroll a die. Comes up green. We did not level. So we'll get an advanced action as a reward. And if I'm not sure, since I'm not sure if I can pick up both action cards, I will take the ambush now, because if I leave the magic talent, it will just be in quotes a card where he has 1 crystal instead of 3. And I do want to move now probably. And there are 2 green die in the source, so the ambush makes a lot of sense. I don't want to pick up the agility at the current time because it's not pressing and it's a white card, so I'm picking up the ambush. And it refreshes with a refreshing walk. How fitting. So now I have to seal the graveyard to win the scenario. It costs 1 mana, it's not an action, so I could do that now. I have rerolled this already, so I did not do it last turn, but I was about to say if I already used this source die, I will probably not pay crystal for this now, so I will wait a turn anyway to see if I need a source die next turn, so we can decide this next turn how to seal this. So this was our first turn. We are drawing up to 5 cards, which is the ambush obviously, pathfinding, so more movement, a blood ritual, instinct, and a concentration. So no more range attack, and I think I will just leave them be here. It's not that important anyway, it won't make me level. I should really spend my tokens and stuff elsewhere. And the pathfinding will allow me to go to another graveyard, for example. So maybe Blood Ritual is again the play to seal the graveyard with a source type, stock up on a crystal, and power another card. So I will probably go for that, but let's first see what Dummy does in his first turn. So it's green, red, and red. So red he does not have. So maybe the Long Night will work out after all. I did forget about the Pursuit, I'm just noticing. But I think we revealed this tile with the last turn of the first round. So at the end of the movement phase of this turn, they were not pursuing me still. This was just the first turn of the next round, but they will have pursued me then. The tokens can move through lakes and mountains. And if there's a choice with equal distance to me, I can decide, so I can move them to the swamps now or to the mountains. I don't think it matters too much, unless I want to go away now and not bother with them. But probably the mountain is, well, no, not really. If I want to go there, then moving them there will give me 1 more space. So if I'm sprinting them now, they will then at the end of the next movement phase go to the mountain. But if I place them on the mountain, I can't go to the monastery anyway through the swamp, if I wanted to do that. But I think it's quite out of position anyway. But then I would provoke them when going to the swamp. So I think I will place them into the swamps. So now I would have the option to level if I kill both. Okay, so they did not pursue pursue me at the last turn of the last round. They did pursue me in my first turn. The dummy made his turn, so I'm at my second turn. And after a turn, they will pursue me again. So I think I want to go with the plan. Again, I don't have the mana to power this, but I don't think powering it is good if I don't need that much mana, because I will get the crystal anyway. I can choose the crystal here. This will be red. So that's the main part of this. And I think for the offering spell, red and blue is the element, so I have to decide for one color of those, and white is ranged and green is siege. So I'm stocking up on green crystals now. I will have to choose siege damage, which is just 4 instead of 6. So it would really be good to pick up white crystals. There is a mine actually, but it's also taking time to go there. But we need a mana to seal now, and we do want to power movement, I think. We could even reach the second graveyard with the combination of these and powering one of them, and the ambush would still be in play. But we would then have to defeat these 2 tokens just with these 2 cards, and that just doesn't sound advisable. But if I don't move into the forest space right now, I will not be able to lower the movement cost again. So the second move into a forest at night will be movement cost 5. Do I want to move to the refugee camp to hire something? That would be quite good. But as explained before, this would mean I have to traverse the forest twice, unless I'm leaving the graveyard B for the second, or for the moment, and just continue from refugee camp onward. For example, to the maze. If you keep to this side of the map, you really have to deal with this token, unfortunately. But it's a really basic token. There's nothing hidden under my shield, so it's just an attack of 3 and armor of 4 with fire resistance, which can just be broken with the resistance break. So if I have any swiftness or so, this will be trivial. So maybe moving to the refugee camp is a good option after all, because I then can use instinct, for example, to hire. Sealing this will give me a reputation, which doesn't do anything, unfortunately. But I could use concentration on instinct, for example. They will move then to me, and if I drop a swiftness, I can just use the resistance break to kill them. So I'm just not worrying for this graveyard currently, because if I go there with the pathfinding, it will cost me 10 movement to go there. Maybe I should go there first and then try to explore here. So this is the coastline. These are 2 spaces that can be quartiles. So if I place another, well, I could even reveal here. So there's a coastline space, the last countryside tile, and then loop around like this. And I will maybe still have an opportunity to hire somewhere else. I think I should really keep up the pace and just go here. Not attack it right away, so the ambush doesn't work. But it's okay, I think. Probably have to play another card. Well, do I want to keep the ambush? It's kind of pointless to produce, well, if I'm already there and just playing ambush with a mana just to get +2 or +4, well, it can increase range attack, even the Horn of Wrath. The problem is I would have to play I Don't Give a Damn to produce another movement 2, because I need movement 6 if I power pathfinding. So I think I want to lay that out here. So Blood Ritual would give me a wound, a red crystal, and another token of any color. So I will probably use the green to seal the graveyard and use another green token to power pathfinding. So let's put that here to then move away. And then the movement cost of all terrain is reduced to 2, which means the graveyard is just 6 movement away. I will have these cards left, but I don't have 6 movement yet. And the familiars are just already spent. And this is exactly the point, because I then have to play the ambush and not have it for the graveyard or the instant. And again, don't have it for the graveyard. And using the concentration is, I don't think, a good idea. Seeing that I do not have red in the source, but I do have green, that might be a reason to keep the ambush. But I do get a lot of red crystals from Blood Ritual, so I again have 2 already, which favors red cards, and I will probably play concentration with green, so that's actually a reason to keep the instinct. Yeah, I think I will let the ambush go, which means I blame Blood Ritual, get a wound to my hand, get a crystal that I'm not using right now, get a green token, which I use to power pathfinding, but before that I'm sealing the graveyard, so I'm marking that with my shield. I'm getting a reputation from this, so this is used for sealing, and then I will have 6 movement with the movement cost of all terrain reduced to 2, so Tovak is going back to the dungeon, through the forest to the graveyard here. So the token will perish, these cards will have been played, and there's nothing else to do. Unfortunately, I will have yet another wound in hand then. I'm drawing only 2, so there's an argument to be had to play that later in the battle. Yeah, but let's leave it like this. I'm rerolling the die, also comes up black, and I'm then drawing 2 cards, which is the mana draw and a tranquility. So there's already my healing. But there's not much improvement for actually dealing with these enemies in the graveyard. So it would really help to level and get the hand limit increased. But I think the point of pathfinding was to cross the forest. There was no option to go anywhere else first to make a preparation turn with revealing, because then we would need movement 5 to go there. So I think I have to clear it, but probably just use tranquility in a turn and just wait. That's a better play unless the dummy is really speeding up. So let's see, this was my second turn, so we have to do the pursuit again. And I think this time there is no option. They have to move to the mountains. And the dummy plays red, green and white, so he's still playing slow. And then I will heal the wound, play the tranquility, and don't do anything else. I will just idle here for a turn. So I'm drawing 2 cards. There's a crystallize, that's also not helping. And a march, that's a bit sad. So now these enemies pursue me even further. So they're now here. I don't have the swiftness yet, it's a bit annoying. But then again, maybe the swiftness is better for this battle anyway, so maybe I should take care of them now in the next turn. But again, the dummy plays a turn, which is white, green and blue, which is just 1 more card, which is another blue. I think that's fair enough. Alright, so we do have to deal with this token now, otherwise at the end of my movement phase they will attack me anyway and it will be the action of my turn. So I can't play the graveyard now. I have to either go on or fight them, so I have to fight. I do have armor 3, so I would just get 1 wound if I just take the attack. And I need an attack of 4, which is really just the instinct. Well, I don't need an attack of 4, it's 3 is enough. I don't have an advanced action card or any spell or artifact for a 3 here. So if we go for 3, an attack of 3, it would be discard another 1 sideways or 3 sideways card, which is not efficient. So maybe we go for mana draw and crystallize, but it would need to be red again. This is what I don't like about this. So maybe I'm not using mana draw and just use a source die to crystallize and play a red crystal with instinct to kill it. But I would get another wound. I could wound the familiars and let them go, but I would be getting my 3rd command slot now, and I don't really want to have no units with 3 open slots. So I need to use the time I have at this night to find something to hire. But we did pick up a lot of movement, so maybe we can reveal here, reveal there, and then either find something or loop around to this refugee camp. But I don't think I want to get rid of too many cards, so we'll probably pick up a wound from the attack and then kill the token. I could then use the vampiric chalice after all, so I just said that I don't like it too much, but it does allow me to get rid of the wounds because I still have the hand limit and I won't level with this measly token. So I think it will help for the attack here. This could be a Fame 1 or Influence 3, and hiring with Influence is really overpowered with these kind of tokens. But I do like the play, so I will probably get rid of this. And then I can use a source die to crystallize. And I did talk about getting more white mana, so I'll probably pick up a white crystal. Don't have the color anyway. So I would battle against the Skeletal Warriors, take a wound, but use the Vampiric Chalice, put it to the discard pile. Once I defeat them. So I have to defeat them. And I will use Crystal to use attack 4, which just kills them. So the resistance break is again not useful, but that would kill them. So let's get rid of the crystal, discard this 2. And I already picked up the white crystal from Crystallize, so let's card this 2. Yeah, this would give me Fame 1. It's a rampaging enemy, so in reputation. And I will get another faction token as a reward at the end of turn. So do I want to do anything else? The movement card is kind of blocking my hand. And I did play a combat card, so if I'm drawing 2 more cards that don't help me, I'm really screwed. But I do need the movement to reveal and explore. So I did play the pathfinding and the ambush already, but there's another march and both stamina still in the deck. I do have the long night, so I'm deciding to toss it because I really need to liberate this graveyard right now. So this is what I do before I'm getting the reward and rerolling the die. I'm tossing this. Let's reroll the source die. Comes up blue. That's quite good actually. So I can power the stamina once it comes up. I do get this reward here. Which is 2 movement. That helps as well, and it does not provoke enemies, and pursuing enemies won't pursue me for a turn. But again, these 2 movement can help with getting around the map. And we are just drawing 3 replacement cards. So there's a promise which doesn't help. A rage finally. And a Horn of Wrath. Okay, now I'm feeling confident to liberate this graveyard. There's currently no pursuing enemy on the map, so these annoying things are already done. And the dummy plays white, blue and white, and he has 4 cards left, so 3 turns unless he's hitting green or blue. And let's figure that out quickly. There's 3 blue and 3 green. Yeah, so it's a coin flip if it's 3 or 4 turns. And we still have the long night and quite a few cards in the deck. Alright, so we do want to liberate a graveyard, so we can finally get out of the forest. Being in the forest at night is not nice if you have to go there, and we do in this scenario. So yeah, let's enter. And let's see what the defenders are. There are skeleton warriors again, so not that hard of an enemy. And the dungeon enemy from the faction deck is a mummy. They do have the most resistance of any token from the faction, so they are ice and physical resistant, which means the resistance break will bring it down to armor 3, but I do not have range attack 3, unfortunately. So let's see how we want to do this. Well, if I do bring them down to 3, then an inefficient range attack of 6 will kill them, which is, for example, the Horn of Wrath with the Vial of Poison, because it increases the siege attack to 6, which is inefficient then if they have armor 3, but they will still be killed. And I don't have to deal with the attack of 4, which is poisonous. The rage will kill them, but I'm not sure, and I can block them now. And what do I do with the concentration even? It's also worth pointing out that I do not have red mana, unless I want to pay another crystal. So I could just use the concentration to power the rage. That's fair enough. I don't give a damn does not give me 3 block, just 2. Using the resistance break on them won't do much. So I think a Vial of Poison on the Horn of Wrath, resistance break on the mummy. So 2 resistance, they have an armor of 3, but still physical resistant. I'm not really breaking it. So that's 6 siege attack because it's just +1, but it's more than enough. Inefficient 3 will kill it. Then we will have concentration rage, this time to produce a red token to have attack 4. I can also play I don't give a damn with the promise with the rage to have 4 without this, but I can't block it. I haven't used the source die yet, so that's a bit odd, which means I can block them by playing them both sideways and elevating 1 to 2, but I'm not using any source dice then, and I would rather keep my promise so I can hire stuff, maybe even just go to the village. I can then try to heal the wound, pick up foresters for example, and the mana draw would actually help with sealing. No, actually I don't need the mana draw to seal because I haven't used the source die yet, so after liberating it, I can just seal it, and I will be able to pick up a spell. That's the reward for the second graveyard. In this scenario in solo you don't have more, but usually the third one would give you a unit and the fourth an artifact. I think I will just take the wound again because I now have an armor of 3 from the skeleton warriors, so then I need to bother with anything and use this to power the rage to just kill them. I might get another wound here, but I can keep these cards for the next turn and I can use a source die to seal the graveyard now. Okay, so I'm entering the graveyard, trying to liberate it. In the range phase I'm playing the Horn of Wrath with the Vial of Poison for 6 inefficient attack against the mummy, which due to resistance break I have an armor of 5, but is physical resistant. But it's dead then, which brings me 4 fame, and I'm at 27 because due to the bonus fame from the Blizzard rules. This was used then already. This is then discarded, and the Horn of Wrath is discarded, and I should roll for a wound. Comes up golden, and I think only black and red gives me a wound. Yes, so no additional wound. And then I take a wound from the skeleton warriors, and I'm producing a red token with concentration, which I use to power rage. So I have an attack of 4, which killed them. Get another fame and another faction token. So 2 faction tokens in total. But let's first get rid of the cards I played. I will level up, let's not forget that. And I'm getting 2 faction tokens as combat rewards. But after the combat I still want to seal the graveyard, and I have to think about if I want to use blue or green. I think definitely blue because I have 2 blue crystals. And I might want to use Tranquility, or did I think I already used that. I should really look through my cards. I think I wanted the blue for the staminas that are coming up, and the Tranquility, Pathfinding, Ambush, Concentration, March is already here, so there's only 1 March left, but 2 staminas. So I think I'd rather pick the green source die to seal the graveyard. Well, I do get a reputation from sealing, but I also get a spell. I should think about that because they are all green and I do have a green die here. Maybe the underground travel is actually what I want to get to the refugee camps. So I think finally I will seal it with the blue die because I do get a spell. Yeah, I think the refugee camp is much better than the village, although I cannot heal there. Can get to the maze, have another tile here and then swoop around like this. But otherwise the underground travel will not do much for me. Should I just reveal naturally? But what do I take? Well, I should probably pick up Tremor. It's just, even though it's the earthquake part is not that important because I don't have fortifications, it's still a -2 to all the tokens, and the Necromancer has 4 tokens, so it will be an armor reduction of 8. It's nothing to scoff at. It won't work against the Necromancer itself. I could even pick up heal, also the cure to heal me. What do I do? I should really fill these slots. And the underground travel is just 1 green mana and I'm there. Currently it costs me, because this is hills I think. Yeah, so it's 8 movement, but with 1 green mana I'm just there. And I can then just reveal from there. There's planes in the maze, yeah. Let's pick the underground travel, even though the tremor is good, but let's not get caught up in this. So call to arms or call to glory comes up. That's really interesting, because I will start with a black mana, which doesn't do much because I haven't picked it up yet. Yeah, okay. So this was the reward. We did pick up the reputation. We will still get these as a reward. Let's reroll the source type first. So it also comes up green, lots of green. And we will get another vial of poison, or a vial of toxin. And this is the Amulet of Reawakening. So once I use this, I will have like a tiny long night effect where I pick a random card from a discard pile under the deed deck, and I will have a hand limit increase. That's the important part. So once I use this, I will have a hand limit of 7. That's kind of a mini motivation and a mini long night. I think that's quite good. Okay, so we are finally done with the graveyard. The leveling was just another command slot. So at the end of turn, we will draw. This time to a hand limit of 6. So we do have the wound. We only draw 3 cards. There's 6 left. Yeah, and we have the long night ahead of us still. And the dummy might give us 3 more turns or 2 more turns. I hope for 3, because then we can make the most out of all this. So yeah, we will pick up the underground travel, obviously. Then a swiftness finally. And the offering. And let's see how the coin flip goes. There's a blue card. Nice. Now it's a 1 in 3 chance. Green. Ah, no, it's the second card. Yeah, perfect. So this is white. And then there should neither be... Yes, exactly. So we have 3 turns. And at this point, I did not draw the move yet. So this either of the staminas or the other march. And we still have all these cards left. So I think I want to stick to the original plan. Use this to do an underground travel. And just travel to the refugee camp to finally pick stuff up. So this would be the movement. And then we can think about trading in these tokens in interaction to get stuff. So in the refugee camp, you can pick up everything at equal cost, which is village. So the foresters and the thugs, a fair game. If you pick up anything else, it will be 1 more fame required. Unless it's a city enemy, then it's 3 more fame required. But there are no city enemies, obviously. So I can pick up the foresters and the thugs for 5, and the swordsman for 7, and the guardian golems for 8. So unfortunately, there's no white dinosaurs to play mana draw to power the promise. I can still play this to turn any other card into influence. If I use it for offering, it will even be 3. But I don't think I want to do that. I think I will rather use offering to burn through my deck more quickly. So I'm currently at 3 if I just play that. So the vial of toxin I will definitely keep. The Orb of Twilight is something that I would rather keep, to be honest. But if I can hire nice things now, that might be worth it. I don't think I need this, because I'm now in position to just reveal a lot of tiles. So I'm not sure this is worthwhile keeping. And I do have the long night already. So if I can use all this to hire something nice, I should probably do that. That would be 9 influence already. So if I want to fill those slots, and probably my choice would be foresters and guardian golems. Since we are at a refugee camp, the difference between foresters and guardsmen is really 2 influence, not 1. They both have 4 armor, and the foresters give you a good mobility and a good block, and using the advanced ability of the swordsman that wounds them is not that advisable anyway. And I really want the guardian golems. That would mean that I have to pick them up for 8, these for 5, so that's 13. So that's 9. With the influence bonus from reputation, I'm at 10. So I need 3 more. That's 2. It's just 1 more. If I only use 2 of them, that would be 6, 7, 9. 1 more card sideways and powering this, that would also be equivalent. But let's think about the 13 again. If I spend them all, that would be 9, 10 with the bonus, so only 3 missing. Well, not using the promise is kind of pointless, but do I want to get rid of another card? What about the swiftness here? I didn't use that yet, and it's a nice card to have if I want to do more. So if I just spend all of them, well, I don't want to do that. The vial of toxin is just far too good. Due to the long night, I want to do this, or I don't need it, let's say. I would have to keep it to the necropolis, I think. Before that, it's not that important. Yeah, filling the slots is more important than movement 2, especially with all the move cards I still have. I could use that turn to play offering. Well, I don't have red mana because I have all these white cards, which gives me white crystals, and that's actually what I need. I'm getting all these red crystals from offering and blood ritual. I really don't want to power this because this costs a white crystal and doesn't give me one. So maybe actually keeping that, even though it sounds stupid, for offering is the play because it gives me a crystal. So we had 9, 10, and I need 3 more. Yeah, it would just be this. Am I insane to do this? I could play the offering for a neutral crystal and just get 2 white ones by paying these 2 cards because I really have to burn through my deck due to long night. I will have 3 turns, so 2 afterwards. But what will I do if I toss a card like this? In the maze I will have 1 of my units, but I will have a lot of movement, so I will probably start moving around, where mana draw will then help me. So I'm not sure that using Offering to get rid of all these cards is like a good idea. I think I will probably hold on to it. I have crystal already, so I can only get 2 more whites. But it will be playing fast, and that's what I like. I might be insane to do this, but let's do it like this. So the underground travel brings me to a refugee camp. I will then interact and use all my faction tokens for influence. I really want to showcase how good they are, and this is just, but filling these slots is also quite good. So that's 12, it's 13 with the interaction bonus from reputation, and 13 is exactly what is 8 and 5. 8 because of the refugee camp, so we'll hire the guardian golems and the foresters in the refugee camp. I will then play an offering and get rid of these cards, which gives me 2 white crystals. So I'm now prepared for a sacrifice, and I get the crystal back, so to speak. And that's that. Yeah, I want to keep this, and I'm rerolling this die now. Comes up green again, and now I'm drawing 4 cards. So I only have 3, which is the March, the Stamina, and the Stamina. So we already knew that. And now we are flipping Long Night. Shuffle the deck and make a new draw pile of 3. But we will only draw 1, but we will have 2 turns. So after this we can draw the other 2 cards and have a nice turn afterwards. So 3 cards, so it's definitely not a Horn of Wrath. And 1 more card, so we can get up to 6, so it's a Rage. Okay, the dummy then exhausts his deck. So it's our turn now, and I think the point is to explore. So we might want to use the mana draw to get 2 blue tokens to get movement 8, because we do have to go to the core tiles. You have at least 2 tiles, and I think I want to put a coastline 10 there and the core tile there, and then maybe even go on with more core tiles. I do have to rotate the map then, because this will no longer work. It's always nice to go north, but from the table space it's much better to have the portal up there. I think I did not draw again another dummy tile, because I did not pick it up. Let's reveal it now. So okay, so it's Universal Power, one of the best skills, again, of Goldex. So if I want to really play the coastline tile, I have to rearrange a lot of other stuff here, because this will go here. So coastline tile here, this is the V shape, and then we are at the core tiles here. So let's put in another grid tile. This is probably nothing I will reveal then. So let's put a rose here. And we do want to fight a level 8 enemy, so let's rotate it back. Alright, so I think this fixes the shape here. And now we can start exploring. We have the plains here, which are adjacent to 2 tiles. It's really awesome. And we are at a maze that we can then still conquer, probably because we can spend this turn movement now. So we need movement 6. And we do have movement then left for the maze. It's quite good. So we should think about what movement cards to use. We could also just go for 1 powered march. That's probably the best choice here, because it's already 4. This brings it up to 6. So that's the maze and 2 reveals. And we keep this to power, for example, the spell route, depending on what else we get. The wound is now really annoying again. But we do have 1 unit for the maze, so we could also use the foresters, for example, to bring it up to an artifact. I think that's the way to go here. So I'm playing the march with source die and a stamina for movement 6. And Tovak moves to the maze for movement 2, and does reveal a countryside tile on a coastline and a core tile in the inner core tile space. So this would be the order. And no matter what we reveal here, we will reveal a core tile so that at the beginning of the next day we can hire the elite units. And we can even move back to the refugee camp to hire whatever we want. It's really nice. Orientation of the countryside tile is blue, so it's rotated once. So this is the regular orientation, and we rotate it to blue. So a rather uneventful tile, but it has a red crystal mine, a monster den, well, a mountain, and then finally the corrupted priest, which have pursued, so I have to be careful with this, especially since I'm revealing yet another tile. But let's see what the core tile is now. The orientation is also blue, so again, we're rotating it once, and it's no city at all. Okay, so that's the usual orientation, and we rotate it like this. This tile is quite more interesting. It has a green crystal mine, it has a ruins, which I will not know what they are until the beginning of the next day, a mage tower of unknown defenders, and a vampiric dragon. The vampiric dragon, of course, also has pursuit, but it will not pursue me this turn. but it unfortunately means that I cannot enter the maze, because on ending the movement on my last turn, after the dummy announces end of round, the vampiric dragon will attack me. But it does make me level if I defeat it, so let's see what happens. That would be the end of the movement step, unless I want to play the stamina as well. My plan was to power this with the foresters to get an artifact in the maze, but now that we know that we have to fight this dragon, does this alter our plans in some way? Well, there is a natural barrier out of lakes, and I don't have the underground travel, so that's a bit of a problem. And going through the refugee camp doesn't help much. I will provoke the dragon right away if I move there. So I could move there to battle a priest instead, but it seems a bit like a wrong direction. On the other hand, I can then take the mage tower maybe on the next day, and the forest will be easier to traverse, and then just continue revealing core tiles here. That might be one way to do it, but I do not need to move now, because now it won't pursue me. So we will have a final turn, and I already played 2 cards, so with a handlement of 6 I will draw the remaining 2 cards. So I'll have all the cards for the last turn. The vampiric dragon is actually elusive, so it would have an armor of 16 if I don't block it, but I can achieve block 7 just with the foresters and the guardian golems. So if I can muster 1 more block and then power enough damage to reach 8, I can defeat it. So I think I will just end the turn here and then see what the remaining 2 cards are that the long night gave me. And depending on that, I decide what to do. So let's reroll the source die. Comes a blue. It might be good for powering stamina. And all pursuing enemies were just revealed, so they're not moving yet. And redraw the last 2 cards. I did not infer what they are by looking through the deck, so let's see. It's a concentration, that's very nice. And a pathfinding, so more movement. Alright, so if I want to defeat the dragon now, I will have to block him, otherwise I would have to deal 16 damage. And I can't make it wound me, otherwise the armor will even be more increased. So, as I said, if I spend a mana on the golems, they have block 4, the foresters have block 3, but it leaves 1 card. Well, I could use I don't give a damn to have block 3 as well. That's already block 6. Then I don't need to power the guardian golems. If I then use concentrated rage, that's already attack 6. So I then would need to play these 2 cards sideways to even come up with the attack 8. So if I don't use I don't give a damn on the card here, resistance break doesn't do anything. I can use it on any card which is not an advanced action card for 2. With 6 it's already 8. And then I just need to spend 1 card sideways to complete the block 8. But this means I have to power the guardian golems again. So I need a green, a red or a blue. But I think that's pretty much it then. So this would, for example, be the block 8 with 1 mana, and then the attack 8 with, again, 1 mana. So I could use a blue crystal, for example, and then use the green die from the source. This would deplete all my cards. I would defeat the dragon. I would get 2 reputation, which helps with hiring next turn. And I would level up. So I can pick magic talent before the dummy picks it up. So I do like this, but going to the mage tower doesn't do anything for me. And the next day I could start with the maze. The alternative would be to hire the pathfinding. No, not to hire, but to activate the pathfinding. To have all Terrain be movement 2. And then maybe also power the stamina for a movement of 8, or even use the concentration on pathfinding to really just keep going and reveal more tiles. So there are 2 more tiles. One is the friendly city, which would also allow me to hire units without going through the refugee camp, which is a penalty of 3 influence if you want to hire a city unit. And I would know where the necropolis is. And there will also be things or stuff to do, I think. Actually, I would exactly know what the 2 tiles are, because they are this 2 fixed city spaces, but I'm not looking this up now. And I have random tile orientation at least, so it's not completely clear how they would be placed. But I could, for example, try to move around the mage tower, reveal, and then even move into the tile. And then the last tile is clear what it is. But I think it's good to level up more. And why run away if we can actually defeat the dragon with the last action? So it's not a maze. Instead, I'm leveling. Not necessarily instead, but I would need 7 fame just from a maze enemy, which is quite unlikely, I think. So I do like that I can actually pick up magic talent now. So I think I will stay in place and just provoke the vampiric dragon. So let's remove the pursuit marker, which does mean that I'm ending my movement, and this token will then pursue me. They can move into the plains or the mountains. I will move them into the mountains, which might give me more options next day, which does mean I could fight them too, but I think I'm out of resources already fighting the dragon, so I'm most likely not doing this. So to come up with the blockade, so I already had a plan that involved 2 mana, so did the other plan cost less mana? Let's see. If I do block 2, block 3, and another block 3 with I don't give a damn, that would be block 8 without a mana. And then the concentrated rage with 2 cards sideways actually just costs 1 mana, which we have in the source, so I think it's better. Yeah, so block 2, block 5, I don't give a damn with an advanced action, gives another 3, that's block 8. This blocks the Vampiric Dragon. It's elusive, so its armor drops to 8. We then use a green source type with concentration and rage for an attack 6, 2 cards sideways. Is attack 8 and I kill the Vampiric Dragon. And I've not used up a crystal for that, so I like that a lot. So that's 7 fame. So I would be at 35, but due to the Blizz rules, I'm at 36. I do level up, and I do get a faction token, because this was also a faction enemy as a reward. And I think that's pretty much it, so there's no need to reroll this. So after the last turn, the dummy announced the end of round, but that part was clear, I think. So we get a combat reward, which is another Vampiric Chalice, okay. That's, funnily enough, one of the only tokens that we have actually used yet. The rest we've spent for influence. We should also discard this and get our skill back. And if we take the magic talent, we can actually take universal power or flight. That's probably something I want to do. Let's see what the skills of Tovak are. So there's this motivation skill, which gives blue mana. That's also a very nice pickup. Or the cold swordsmanship, that's either attack 2 or a cold attack 2. That's solid as well, but it does only make sense if you're fighting a lot. I'm really tempted by universal power or by flight. For example, I could just jump over the mage tower next day and just get going without needing to circle around. But then again, maybe I want to just take the tower, but I'm still sitting on a maze. There's so many good options here, but I think what's clear is that I do want to take magic talent. I don't want another movement skill with refreshing walk, even though it does heal. And I do have a wound in hand. And I think I discarded one with the Vampiric Chalice. So I'm building up some depth here. Well, it's just 2 wounds. And I do have the Blood Ritual, of course, so there will be more in the future. And agility, well, I do have all these move cards, but it's just 1-to-1 to attack, to regular attack. I don't know. I think I'd rather have the opportunity to cast a spell from the offer. I think that's very nice. It would, for example, allow me to cast Call to Arms or Call to Glory if I can get night rules. So the lucky thing was that the graveyards where I get so early, but this also means that I would have to circle back to actually have night rules at day. But then again, the Necropolis space is a night space, so maybe we can use this to our advantage. So I think I'm taking Magic Talent, and we would draw that, but it's quite pointless, so let's just put it here. And now we can take whatever skill we like, so either a motivation skill, or the cold swordsmanship, or the universal power, or the flight. That's really a tough choice. So funnily enough, with the sacrifice, you do get the mana after spending the crystals, and all these crystals count, so this mana does not do much for me. If I'm like turning all these crystals into mana anyway, it's tough, because motivation just gives you cards, and cards are a very rare currency. It gives you much more options, more flexibility. And I think I'd rather take cards than this. This is only good if you have to deal with physical resistant enemies and you desperately need a source of elemental damage, which I do not have, just to point out, yeah. But nevertheless, it sounds good in the beginning, but this makes you much more flexible. 2 cards, more often than not, is at least 2 damage, maybe more. Universal power means that if you have all that mana, and if I use sacrifice, I will have a lot of mana. Being able to spend 1 mana of the matching color should be possible. So for an attack 4, block 4, whatever, that's huge. And the flight, as I said, well, I should not take the flight. The flight is just cool. It's a gimmick, but I do have pathfinding. So I have already, and underground travel. So movement should actually not be the issue. So I can even, well, it's a swamp, probably I can't, but I can still circle around with underground travel. It can traverse 3 revealed spaces, so it's pretty much the same as flight here. So I should not take flight, that much is clear. But I'm really tempted with universal power. It's another sideways skill, but one that scales quite nicely. Or should I just stick with motivation? It's another mana. I think I'm taking universal power because I now have the ability to take it because I take the last card in the offer anyway. And it does allow me to give influence. So no matter how many cards I draw, they will all just be 1 influence if played sideways. So this allows me to have 3 or 4 influence by a card. And blocking might actually be quite important, which I can also do with this without having any specific block cards as well. It's really hard to pass on these 2, specifically the motivation, but I think I want to do that now. Let's just try that. So we are revealing another dummy skill for next time I'm leveling up, which is the motivation skill. So we also refresh the offer. And we do see the Intimidate again. Very nice card. Alright, so this concludes the first night. The dummy picks up a green crystal. So he has now 4 green and 1 blue crystal. So we really must not give him green cards. That would have been an argument for taking Refreshing Walk, but I can get rid of it now. I think I want to get rid of Q as well. Can cast spells from the offer, so I have to keep that in mind. Yeah, nevertheless, I think I want to... No, let's get rid of it. The dummy picks up a white card with agility, where he does not have crystal from, and we are removing the Refreshing Walk, because it's a green card and I don't want to pick it up. The advanced action offer refreshes to Temper, Portal, and Blood of the Ancients. Nice choices. And spell offer shows a Whirlwind or Tornado, very nice, and Chill and Lethal Chill. So a lot of enemy attack prevention. It doesn't work on the Necromancer, obviously, but it might still come in handy. The level we chose has 2 dragons. So one will be the Vampiric Dragon, and I have to block it. Well, it doesn't have to be the Vampiric Dragon. It can be 2 Death Dragons. That might also happen. And for those, it's quite more interesting to just not have them attack because they are not elusive. And it will be at least one of those. So we are refreshing the units, and we have to decide what crystal to put on the familiars if you want to keep them. And I think we really want to. I'm tempted to put a white crystal onto them, even though we need these 3 for sacrifice. But I hope we can fix this later on. I will get 2 more red crystal unless I'm powering Blood Ritual, but then I can choose whatever crystal I like, and I will get a blue one from the Ice Bolt unless I'm using this. And I do like to get Influence, because we don't have that many faction tokens, and I really want to pick up a nice unit. That would be Influence 5. And if I draw a really bad starting hand, the Familiars alone would allow me to go to the artifact route in the maze. So I think I'm giving them a white crystal. Removing the tactics from the game, that's 2 and 4. The pure magic from the existing monastery that I didn't burn down yet is training, so not that interesting. For the unit offer, we will have 2 silver units due to the Blitz rules. So they are Utem Guardsmen. I like them a lot. In contrast to the Swordsmen, they are not getting wounded, and block 4, which counts twice against swiftness, with an armor of 5, that's just so huge. And the Red Cape Monks that can produce fire attack or block. But I'm of course much more interested in the gold units, which are catapults, okay, always good, and freezers. So another unit that can prevent attacking, and it does do an armor reduction, but again it doesn't work against the Necromancer. We do switch to the day side, and the offer comes back as white, red, blue, and black. If I had still had the Orb of Twilight, that would be a gold die. But then again, if we can get to night rules, having black mana might actually be good. The ruins will be revealed since it's now day, so this does not depend on anyone's turn. I think this only reveals in my first turn. So there's a red altar that gives 7 fame. We are shuffling the dummy deck, and we are shuffling our deck, which feels quite huge. But it does have an artifact, it does have a spell, but just the underground travel. We didn't pick up anything else. And we have another advanced action, so we got through 3 by leveling and 1 as the reward of the first graveyard sealing. And 2 wounds, so I think I already mentioned that. So quite a few cards in here. Actually, let's give it a quick count. So it's 26. So we added 10 cards, so 2 wounds, 8 more, 4 advanced actions, 4 more, an artifact in his spell, 2 more. Oh, we did add 2 spells, so we did also add the offering. And we did learn another advanced action in the first monastery, so now it makes sense. Alright. But 26 is quite large. So there's no unit that I can actually hire in a mage tower. That's a bit sad. Should I take this at all then? If I take it, I should definitely go for the artifact route in the maze now. And it might be a play to go back to the refugee camp just to hire. There's just a penalty of 1. If I can have a unit in the keep anyway. So the catapults, for example, have to keep in the city symbol. So if I hire them, I think I can go for the keep symbol and just pay 1 more. So it should be the most efficient one and not the worst one. I think it's just the units that you can hire only in the city that cost 3. But it's something I should probably read up. Yeah, but it's pretty clear from the rules that it's exactly like I explained. So if you can hire it in the village, it's free. If you cannot, but can in a keep or a mage tower and so on monastery, it's 1. And if you also cannot do this, but only in the city, then it costs 3. So it's actually not a big deal if I am going for these units, because none of them are city only. So it's at most a difference of 1. But I do have to level before I can even get another unit, so going back now is quite pointless. But from there, using pathfinding or even underground travel, it should be easy enough to go here and then reveal these 2, or I go here and reveal these 2, so I think it doesn't change too much. So we have emblem of 6, and there's no increase whatsoever. There's pathfinding right away, there's stamina, threaten, another stamina, crystallize, and a cold toughness, so no combat cards at all, or almost none. It's just a block card, which is not good because there are still these priests coming for us with Pursuit. And we still have a lot of good tactics to choose from. So we could go first still with the right moment. So not technically first, but if we do 2 turns in a row, then well, it's indistinguishable from going first for solo. So we could draw 2 more cards, which might make us be stuck even more. So this is why I don't like it that much again. Because from here, if you have just movement, I would have to circle back. We could steal a mana, die, or we could rethink. Again, I don't think I see the defenders before my first turn, so I can't plan for that. And the Mage Tower is in Swampland, so it would take movement 5 unless I'm using Pathfinding. And the source is not actually showing green mana. The foresters do reduce the move cost of swamps. So regular stamina and the foresters will just give me the Mage Tower. I don't think it will be any problem to take that with the units I have. But I'm somewhat interested if I can actually take a stab after Necropolis at that day already. But maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe I should pick up another command slot, pick up one of these units, maybe even replace the foresters. But if I go to the tower now, that's the wrong direction. So I would have to reveal something that allows me to hire. I can hire everything in the keep. So I know it's not a white city, so there won't be a keep coming up, I think. And the only keep is here, so that's really not an option. So I think I should go to the refugee camp to hire. That doesn't mean that I don't start with the tower now. Maybe I'm getting too caught up in this refugee camp thingy, because I do know that there is the green city, where I can learn advanced actions and hire city units, which is just a friendly city, so I don't even need to assault it. We will reveal this, either as the first time or the second, and then we can hire the freezers and the catapults just in the city. So I think we should just move on, and probably just go through the Mage Tower, even though it does set back our reputation, but it will mean we can pick up a spell. The Tornado, for example, when we fight against the Necromancer, could allow us to just kill the Vampiric Dragon, but we would have to block it anyway, or deal with the damage somehow. And if it's blocked, it's just attacks 8, but again, it's it's still 8. Maybe Lethal Chill is even the better pickup. Again, the Necropolis is a graveyard, so it's night rules, so we can use black mana. We do have one in the source. So Lethal Chill. Unfortunately, it's just one unit that we can keep from attacking. Well, both spells would mean that we can stop one enemy from attacking. But what do we want to take as a tactic? So I'm tempted to go with Rethink, and I want to keep the Pathfinding to actually assault a tower in an efficient way. Although we do have to play with the foresters, so maybe that's not necessary, but it would use the unit. And if we power this, we don't have a green mana, it would need a crystal. So that's actually the wrong time for this. So we would need the foresters and stamina just to assault a tower. We would not hire then, so that's not helpful. We would need to call toughness to fight. Could use to crystallize maybe, but all the movement and the threaten is actually not that helpful. Well, we can use them with the sideways cards, but maybe we should take Rethink and just swap them out. Have definitely one more turn, because I think time is more important than anything else currently. And just go through the tower to that space and then reveal stuff. Yeah, we're currently at day, so the forest is not a big deal. Maybe crystal is not the best currently, and we rather keep pathfinding to ensure that we can move on easily, because the core tiles will have rough terrain, but it won't help us with the fight, but I don't think we need that much help with the fight. And it's unlikely that we don't use a source dice, so maybe I regret this, but I think we will actually swap out these cards here and take Rethink. So before we do that, let's see what the dummy is up to. But it doesn't actually matter, because we won't have a day 3. So yeah, let's just pick one. It's the right moment. And then we replace these 3 cards with an Offering, okay, a Wound, unfortunately, and a Rage. That might be interesting and more helpful for the fight. So we shuffle them back in. So the order is still valid, so Tovak is before Goldrax, and this is our first turn. And if we end the movement in the vicinity of these priests, they will pursue us and attack us, so we have to move. And since we are now in the first turn, we do see the defenders of the Mage Tower, which are sorcerers. And again, the sorcerers annoy Tovak because Cold Toughness does not do anything, or at least not more than usual, against the sorcerer. So it's 5 and we need 6 to block them. So do we assault him or do we just go around them? When I play Offering, I really want to toss at least one white card so we get our white crystal back. It just sounds so wasteful to go to the swamp, use the foresters for this. Once I'm hiring, I will replace the foresters anyway, so that's not a good argument to not use them now. But I am lacking cards, because even to come up with attack of 6, I would use at least, I don't give a damn. So that's 1 card sideways. And since the Cold Toughness alone does not block it, I need yet another card or a unit. I don't know about this. We can't take the maze because of these annoying priests that pursue us. If we circle around, the Mage Tower will actually provoke the Priest. So the Priests are actually a problem. And they have a defend of 1, so they will defend themselves if I don't attack anything else. So they have an armor of 6 and they are vampiric. So if I do not block them but take a wound or wound a unit, they will even have 1 more armor. So they are really annoying. So maybe picking up a spell that makes the unit not attack is actually useful to defeat them. So if I take them in tower now, they will pursue me. They will not attack me, but they will be adjacent to the tower. I think I'm actually defended against them once I'm in a fortified site that I own. If I'm assaulting them and they would be in adjacent space, they would join. But I think if I'm in my own Mage Tower keep, they will not join. So a hero can only legally be attacked if they are in a space that does not contain one of the following: a fortified location that they are not assaulting, a location where interaction is possible, so burnt monasteries and magical glades are allowed. So if I'm in a fortified site that I own, I'm safe, and if I can interact like a villager, so I'm also safe. And that's interesting to know, actually. So even the refugee camp would be a safe space against pursuing rampaging enemies. So maybe I should kill the priests first. I can then drop the wound with the Vampiric Chalice. To block them, I would need the Foresters and the Cold Toughness. So I could attack the Mage Tower if I want with Pathfinding or just go on afterwards. Or use it to go to the maze. I would have movement 5 already by the Familiars for the maze. And blocking a Coldfire 4 attack would mean powering Cold Toughness and using the Foresters for block 3, block 5. So it's block 8 in total, inefficient. And then they have an armor of 5 but defend 1, so I need 6 damage. That's a powered Rage and 1 card sideways, unfortunately. But I don't then need the stamina, so I don't give a damn. So in total I get by with just the blue die from the source, I think. So let's think about this. Because they are annoying and they will keep on pursuing me. Did I kill a dragon? Don't give me a reputation? I'm not sure I did. I have to look that up. So let's see. I was starting at this place, but then I burned down a monastery. So I went down to 0, leaning to the negative. But I did kill at least 2 rampaging enemies. Glades, no, the graveyards both gave me a reputation as well. So it's already a +4 and only a -3. But I did use Threaten in the first monastery because that brought me to -1. So that pretty much equals out. So -4 in total from the monastery. Threaten and I'm burning it down. +1, +1, +1, +1. So this equals out, and I don't give myself the reputation for the dragon, I think. Because I was talking about that it actually helps with hiring. So let's fix that. I don't know where I would lose reputation with my current deck. I don't have Intimidate, and I didn't use Threaten for anything else. These I hired in an interaction with all these tokens when I was still at +1. I'm not sure how I hired these, but not with Threaten. I think I missed it. It's just too much reputation. 2 for sealing, 2 for these. Well, let's look at this pile here. So 2 from the first graveyard. Probably these 2 from another graveyard. The summoner summoned, I don't know what it summoned actually. I think this was the first rampaging enemy. Then this was a summon, and these 2 were the defenders of the first graveyard. That's the second graveyard, another rampaging enemy, and the dragon. Yeah, I hope I'm making not a huge mistake here, but I don't see where I would have all the minuses from. And these 3 alone and the dragon and the 2 graveyards is already +7. And I did have -4, that much is clear. So I didn't defeat that yet, so it's +6, -4, it's +2, yeah. And we started with +1. I think that's maybe I'm cutting that out, maybe not. Okay, let's see. I think I want to kill that now, which would mean block 3, block 5. It's an ice block, but it doesn't matter because it's called fire attack. So it's inefficient, it's 8, but it will block an attack of 4. So we do need a crystal after all. So maybe we do use the red source die for the rage and the blue crystal for the cold toughness. Well, we do get a lot of red crystals and maybe not that many blues, to be honest. And I maybe want to keep a red die in the source for offering because we have it in hand already. Well, if we use it for well, let's swap that. Let's do it as we started with and use the red crystal. Not sure what's better here. So let's block 8, which blocks them, and this is attack 6 and 8. No, it's 4 and 6. So, and due to defend we need 6, so this then kills it. So we would discard our crystal and the cards we have used. We would use the Vampiric Chalice to drop the wound to the discard pile, so we can actually draw more interesting stuff. Put back the skill. These 2 we want to keep. We won't use them now, so we can... Well, let's take the fame first. That's 3 fame. And we do get another reputation. So already at +2. Quite a difference to last game. And we get a green die in the source. So nothing else happened. There's no other rewards. Oh, well, there is another reward. It was a faction. token, so we get another faction skill here. Yeah, finally we get the ghostly elixir, which makes any attack on a single action card a ranged attack. So it has to be on a card, it can't be a ranged effect from somewhere else, but I really like that token. So that's really huge for the Assault of the Necropolis. So there are no other enemies that pursue me, so I'm just drawing up to 6 now. Crystallize, Promise, Swiftness, and an Ambush. The dummy plays a Swiftness, so white, red, and a blue. And blue is 1 crystal, so not a card, which is a white card. So not the best cards. 3 of them would not match any crystal, but alright, at least it's not a green. Alright, now that we get rid of this, what's the plan? Now we have a green dinosaur, so we could actually just circle around the tower, because I still don't think that we want to do this. There's no way to avoid fortification. We have several cards that don't do anything in combat, and range attack, which also does not help, even with the ambush, but it would increase a block that I play to 6, so maybe blocking would be trivial, but where does the attack come from? Maybe from universal power. So I could play this to ambush, but I again need 1 movement more with a swamp, which is yet another card again. I just don't like it at all. So if I remove the cost of all terrain to 2, this only brings us to the edge of the map, so I need much more movement. So I would need to play the familiars for move 5, or also power the ambush, and maybe even use the swiftness. But I could also make an offering turn if I want to stock up on crystals, but then I'm not playing a sacrifice this day. Maybe I should assault the Necromancer next night and just build up my strength. So it might be time to actually go to the maze. Actually, the ambush, I think, will work with the maze, because I can pay the move in the movement phase. That's usually the point, that you move with this into, for example, an assault, and then you carry over the effect, because it just says first block or attack card, whichever you play first this turn. So that's actually quite nice that I can use it to go into the maze and then just increase the value of my first card I play. But I have an abysmal hand for fighting. But I do have all these nice skills here, and it would be really easy to block something, I think, with the ambush, or use a range deck 5 to just kill the token. And I can make another attack range, but it has to be printed on a card, which is it not. So it doesn't work on sideways cards. So I would need a determination or rage or something like this. So maybe I'm playing a slow turn with the offering. Yeah, so let's give up on the idea to take the Necropolis at day. It's interesting that you can, because it has night rules, but I think it's a good idea to use all this for offering. Well, not all of this, but just get a red and a white crystal, maybe even a blue one. I will use source dice probably. And then we have the ambush and the swiftness and the pathfinding to go on, and we'll have 3 more cards for the maze. Let's just do that. So that's a red, a white, and a blue crystal, so that's a lot of crystals. And we just staying here and see what happens. Comes a blue, and we draw 3 replacement cards that hopefully help more with combat. A blood ritual, an underground travel, and a Horn of Wrath. Oh, that's nice. Okay, that works. Actually, that would also work against the Mage Tower if I can get 1 more siege attack. So this is where the Vial of Toxins comes back to bite me, because it would just be so perfect to just blast these damn sorcerers out of this tower. Alright, so I think I will go into the... Well, actually, with ambush it does work. It adds +2 to the first attack card of any type, so the Horn of Wrath is an attack card. So we could just take the tower with ambush, but it also works with the mace. So I think I want to get me an artifact. I think that's more important than a tower. Yeah, let's go for an artifact. So I don't think I need the swiftness, because this would be movement 6 if I power the ambush. And this gives me a siege attack of 7, which I hope is just enough. We will see. But I'm entering the maze at the 6 route. I can take 1 unit with me, which are the Guardian Golems, I think. Yes, I want to take them, because I need a lot of influence, and I paid a white mana for this, for the familiars. So I'm taking the Guardian Golems with me into the maze. We draw 1 dungeon enemy, which defends the maze, and it's a Minotaur. So we play the Horn of Wrath with a siege attack of 7 and kill it. That's 5 fame, and we mark the 6th route with one of our shields. And we have played all these cards, and still have to roll for the horn, of course. Comes up white, so again no wound, which is nice. And I don't think I want to play any of those, so let's reroll the source die. Unfortunately no more green. And we do get an artifact. The choice is between the Tome of Vault spells, I learned to love this, and the Druidic Staff. That will be a much tougher choice. So I already have the magic talent, so that I can use the spells. The nice thing about this is that you can just use them without paying, even if you break it, the powered version, and even a day. So this is why this is just such a good thing. But again, we are playing a scenario where we end up with night rules anyway, no matter if it's day or night, so I don't think that's that important, and I do have the magic talent. Druidic Staff, on the other hand, can move you revealed spaces, can get you crystals, can ready units, which I think is quite good. or it can heal. I think that's much more versatile. I'm not convinced that the spells are the important part here. But does it do anything for the final assault? The movement doesn't. The crystals can. 2 crystals of any one color. Could stock you up for sacrifice, whatever I need. Readying the units is good, of course. But it's really not an in-combat thing here. It's just a preparation thing, a versatile. I like that a lot. But currently the tome, I don't even have a card of the matching color. And I don't think I need that currently. It's really a tough choice. I think I'm going with the staff anyway, because if nothing else, I can ready the familiars and get another influence 5. Because this is really costing a lot of influence. If I reach the city, I will have +2 and 1 shield in the city, so it's +3. Which means they are costing 5 and 6. But this has to come from somewhere. I already tossed a promise. I don't have another influence card. I do have instinct, but I'm really banking on this. So let's go with the staff. So that was the combat reward for the mace. And I'm drawing up to 6 cards, which is the staff, of course, a concentration and an instinct. So we did spend the first turn to kill the pursuing enemy instead of taking the tower, and a second turn to clear the maze. So now it's the second turn of the dummy, which is blue, green, and blue again. So another card, which is green. This is good. So at that point, I think I will just skip the tower and start revealing. I have lots of movement with the underground travel and the pathfinding. I could even use the instinct. At this point, I'm returning from several days where I have to step away from the game, so I have to get into the game again. And as always, I hope I'm not doing any continuation errors by missing something. But I think I made the clear cut, and the plan was, with the middle of the second day, to now reveal the friendly city and or the necropolis, and use the magic familiars to hire, to get my hands on these freezers or catapults. And I don't need the refugee camps to hire those, because we do have the friendly green city. So I don't want to use the magic familiars for movement, but I do have nice movement cards in hands. I have pathfinding, which can reduce the movement cost of all terrain to 2. I could use instinct for movement. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I do have underground travel and a druidic staff, which both allow me to move spaces, but for the staff I would need to discard a white card, which I don't currently have. I can also use universal power, and I don't give a damn to produce movement. But then again, I have so nice movement cards in hand already that I'm not sure I want to do that. And even though influence 5 from the familiars is nice, I do need a lot more influence. I have +2 from my reputation. So if the familiars alone is already 7, which actually brings me quite close to hiring the units already. So maybe it's not a big deal, because I was thinking if I need instinct for influence, but I do have these skills as well once I'm in the city. So maybe I should use instinct for movement. I was discussing to take the tower, but they are in the swamps, so that's not the best movement. And with the arcane immunity, they really are annoying, to say the least. Resistance break doesn't work well, they don't have any resistance. And these numbers of 6 are just, well, annoying. So I think I will just bypass the tower for now. So if I just use a regular movement, I would need 4 movement if I reduce the movement to 2 for all terrain to get here, and then 2 for revealing. And if it's not a friendly city, I will have to move on, reveal another tile. The source is not showing any green mana, nor is it showing any red mana. That's also quite annoying. But I do have the blood ritual, so maybe it's time to actually play it with the advanced side by producing red with concentration and then blood ritual, because it does mean that I get 3 tokens of any color I want, and I can crystallize any of them. So I'm no longer bound to red. And seeing that I have so many green skills here, I might want to produce maybe even 3 green tokens. Well, depending on if I want to use instinct, 1 red might actually be interesting, because I will probably use pathfinding, instinct, and maybe underground travel, depending on the distance I have to go. Seeing that I have blue and white crystals and the source is blue and white, I will definitely not take any of those colors. So let's take 2 green and a red. We of course also take a wound. And just to mark that properly, we produce the red token with concentration to power blood ritual. And let's just say I'm taking the green crystal. I'm not sure if I can do that later in the turn. So once I start revealing stuff, this will all be locked in. And I will power pathfinding and I will power instinct. I think I need to power both before I even reveal stuff. If I use regular movement, and then I can use underground travel to jump wherever I like, unless it's all swampland on the lakes. Another variation would be to use underground travel now that I know where I can go. I can actually go to this space because I can't go through the swamp, and neither can I go here. There's swamp and lakes as well. So there are plains and forests, so 3 space would bring me here, but this doesn't do much for positioning since I do not know what I will reveal, and there's no position where I can stand where I can reveal 2 tiles. I moved the map a little bit and added these tile holders here to help in planning, because this is really the coastline. So the core tiles can only be explored here and here currently. This is also the coastline, the roses on the coast. So it's really this tile and then this, or this tile and then this. So I could think about moving here, but underground travel won't let me cross this barrier here. So I would have to use pathfinding, which is fair enough. So I could go here with 4 movement, just with pathfinding, because it reduces the movement cost of all terrain to 2. So the swamp will be 2 and the hills will be 2, and I will actually be sitting on a green mine. Not that I want to end the movement there. This is also swampland. So I could also reveal here, but I'm not sure it makes a big difference, to be honest. Here the closest part, or the closest place to reveal, is this forest here. And if I need to go to another tile, I have to cross alongside here. And here the closest space to me currently, which makes me reveal this, is here. And if I have to go here, I again have to walk through 2 spaces. And here's it's a swamp, there's a forest, so this might actually be easier to traverse. I don't think I'm particularly fond of the altar this game. So I think I will just stick with the original plan. Use movement 4 to walk around the tower into the forest here. Pathfinding, and then I'm using instinct for another move 4, so I can reveal and I can maybe move another space. So let's reveal another core tile. Die comes up black, so it will be rotated 180 degrees. So this is the regular orientation, and we rotate that the monastery is actually in my vicinity. So there's a dragon mountain here, and there's a vampiric dragon on them, which as per the scenario rules mean it will pursue me. You add another advanced action to the pool for the newly revealed monastery, so we can also learn Force of Nature now, not just training. And we do reveal the entourage of the necromancer, which for level 8, as we decided for, means 1 green, 1 brown and 2 red tokens. So let's start with the brown one. That's a vampire. That's quite fitting. Then the 2 red ones are the 2 remaining ones, which are then the same dragon since we already defeated a bone dragon. So I will have to fight 2 death dragons that have assassinate and paralysis. And for the green ones we have to shuffle the discard, because we already ran through all of them. And we get skeletal warriors. Alright, so at that point I probably wished I had taken Tremor, just seeing how high these armor values are. And the vampires are even elusive, but 5 attacks should be blockable to reduce that. Which does mean I'm not fighting against them in range, but I do think I will have enough targets for range actually, including the necromancer itself, even though it will not lower his attack. Attack of the necromancer will be fixed on entry, so even if I reduce the level I will still get the attack unless I'm killing it, then the attack will be gone. Which means that if you don't reduce it to 0, range attack doesn't actually do much for you. You can, well, unless you are paralyzed or would lose other cards. So now we are faced with the problem that this dragon will actually pursue us. So if we just move here to reveal the green city, we can't just bypass unless we are using underground travel. It's an option that we have to just go here, and I think that's even considered safe. So if I don't leave, the city dragon will not attack me. And maybe that's the play here, to first circumvent it, do the hiring, then take on the dragon once it's much easier probably. It's also a dragon that you do not kill at range, because it would have 16 armor if you don't block it. So even just using the regular freezes ability of block 5 will probably be the way to go. But let's see what I already played. So I definitely played the horn already. There's a swiftness. Yeah, so it's not that much that I already played. In particular, there will be other cards for blocking, and to come up with the 8 damage I should have plenty of cards as well. So underground travel does not provoke enemies, so if we go here, reveal, we can actually bypass the dragon with underground travel. We have 2 movement points left currently, but the dragon will currently not pursue me, because it only starts after the movement phase of my next turn, which means I can use the movement of next turn to move here, reveal, and use underground travel. I don't have to do it now, because it will only then activate pursuit. So what I probably should do is just use the movement 2 to enter the monastery. It's definitely better than the forest space, and then let that turn be. I'm not using any source die then. Draw up on cards and see what I get. Because all this needs cards that I do not really want to play sideways. I was shortly thinking about using Druidic Staff with Universal Power, but since I need 4 movement for additional ones, I would need a matching mana color, and it's yet another green token, which I can only pay with the crystal, and if I then continue with underground travel, it's yet another green. I'm out of crystals already. So I played 4 cards, and the dummy is playing slow, so stop here. What did I do? I used concentration for red token for blood ritual, and I've taken a wound, taken 2 green, 1 red token, crystallized 1, used the other tokens for pathfinding instinct for a movement of 8. I was starting on the maze. All terrain is now movement 2, so 2, 4, 6, and revealing before that is movement 8. Yeah, so we at least know where the friendly city is and where the necromancer is, and we've already seen his entourage. Maybe the sacrifice will just kill the dragons, so just in quotes, and doesn't even touch the necromancer. But as already laid out, you have to deal with the original attack of the necromancer anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you use range attack unless you can kill him. And coming up with 32 range attack is probably not an easy feat. So let's discard this. Unfortunately, we have gotten another wound, and we do draw 3 cards, which is another wound, stamina, and magic talent. The dummy goes after me, so let's see what he does in his third turn. White, green, and green. So we are hitting a green card, so that's 4 more cards. White, red, red, and white. All cards where he does not have a crystal off. But he does have 3 cards left at that point, so it doesn't matter anymore. We now have 3 turns. To execute the original plan, we now have to come up with movement of 5, because the movement of forest is no longer reduced. So I need 3 to enter the forest and 2 to reveal. And from there I can take it on with just underground travel. Now that I have 2 wounds in hand, I would rather use the druidic staff to heal, to be honest, but it would need a green card. And I only have underground travel, which I need for my plan, unless I'm taking on this dragon. But that would mean I need block 8 and attack 8. I'm also sitting on a monastery, so I could heal now for just influence. But if I stay here, the dragon will pursue me. I'm not sure if I can put it on the necropolis. Probably not, because I then wouldn't even be able to enter the necropolis. Actually, since I'm at +2, in the last turn I could have used my reputation bonus of +2 to heal. That would have been without any other card, just 1 wound that I can toss, so I draw 1 more card. But I'm hesitant to change that because I revealed information, so especially information that I will draw another wound. So I don't know. It would have been a better play, definitely, but I didn't think about it enough, and I don't think after revealing information I want to undo this. The Force of Nature might actually be interesting because it is a block 6 card, and there are things that I need to block, like the Vampire or the Bone Dragon, to circumvent the elusiveness, because I can't come up with that much attack. So in this case, block is really just doubling as attack. So this 5 block is the same as 5 attack if you don't block. But to heal 2 wounds and learn an advanced action in the monastery, I would need a combined influence of 10. So maybe I do use the magic familiars now. My plan was to ready them again with the Ruthless Coercion, I think, which I still have in the deck. But let's use them now, or risk of not using them at all. But the problem is, how do I then reach this tile to reveal it, if I can't put the dragon on the necropolis? I think I can actually move the dragon onto the necropolis, so the rules just say I can't move them on a fortified site, which the necropolis is not, and that I can't enter it. Well, that's pretty much the same with each other site where they could be sitting on. It would still mean that I would provoke them when moving regularly, but I could use the underground travel just to move to the forest, and then use regular movement once I want to reach the city. And at that point, since I know it's the green city tile, I think there's no harm in looking at it, because this is open information. I don't want to look it up somewhere else. So we ruled out all the other tiles. And looking at it, there's a lot of swampland. We don't know the orientation, obviously, but underground travel would not allow us to move through the swampland if it lands in any of these orientations. So it will be a barrier, a lake and swamp barrier, so to speak, between the friendly city and this part of the map. But regular movement will make it quite hard to reach the city, especially if there are rampaging enemies. So it really depends on the tile orientation, but more likely than not we will have to fight. So it sounds like a good idea to maybe just defeat the dragon in the next turn. But we do only have 3 turns left, so time is running out to hire something. So do I take a step at my original plan? That would mean to use the stamina for a movement of 4 and probably play magic talent sideways to move to the forest and reveal, and then use the underground travel to reach the city. And with the possible orientations of the tile here, whenever there is like a forest adjacent to me, or if I can go below the mountain through the forest, or again a forest directly, the underground travel would work. But there are 1, 2, well, actually just 2 orientations that would block me from reaching the city with an underground movement of 3. So it's actually a 1 in 3 chance that it does not work, which is enough for me, I think. Did do the misplay with the wounds, so I will have them in hand still. But I did not use my tranquility yet, so it will be coming up. I think I have to press on. I think units are far too important to skip on that. And if I reach the city now, maybe I can even kill one of the revealed rampaging enemies to level up and to further increase my reputation. The level up would give me a command slot, so I only have to replace one unit, if I can hire both. I'm really short on cards, that sucks a bit, but let's just go for this. So I'm using stamina for movement 4, 3 to move into the forest, so there's 1 point missing. I want to hold on to this, and I probably want to hold on to this. So the magic talent unfortunately goes. It would have been helpful, but yeah, I don't have much of a choice here. So let's reveal this tile and see what fate decides how the orientation is. So it comes up white. So from the original orientation, it will be rotated once in this direction. So this is the regular orientation and will be rotated to white. So just to point it out, the regular orientation would work because I can circumvent the lake by underground travel through the mountain and the glade. But this, of course, will be the even shorter route. So I think it's quite interesting for this scenario, the choices of city, because if the blue city is always the necropolis, it means that you will have to deal with pursuing a red token or red dragon from the necromancer set. So that's a nice touch, but you do always have the monastery. And the green city tile will mean it's friendly, you can hire, but it's hard to traverse. And in Pellucia you will also always have 2 green necromancer tokens with pursuit that annoy you. So that's a nice choice, I think, for the scenario. And you will have a glade, because the rules specifically say that only the glades on the countryside tiles will be graveyards. So this one is designed to be a regular glade, where you can actually heal, get mana, and so on. Which is interesting, because I do have wounds in hand, but I don't think I have the time. So I should really press on to the green city now, which would mean playing underground travel with the green token I got from Blood Ritual. I can move up to 3 revealed spaces on the map. You may not move to or through swamps or lakes this way, and you must end your movement on a safe space. Moving this way does not provoke. That's the important part. So we can just make a move 2 and enter the green city. And I actually have a shield there as well, so it's even more influence for me. None of these tokens would make me level, even if I kill both. They actually do both have a shield to indicate that they're pursuing me, but they will not enter fortified site as the dragon itself will not do. So this will end the movement. I will not go anywhere else, and I will then move these pursuing dragons into the village to give me a path that at least ends in a glade and not in a village in a swamp, if I want to leave the city and provoke them. And at that point I won't move anymore, they will just linger around the walls to see when I leave. But I do still have my interaction, this time I won't make the same mistake. And as pointed out, with a shield token and +2, I'm already at +3. So if I activate the familiars now, for influence of 5, I will reach 8, which allows me to just hire the freezers. So the first unit is already done, and I like that a lot. So let's hire them, but I do have to replace something, and at that point I will replace the foresters. They are nice, but then again I have so many crystals I can keep the familiars. They have even a better armor, and I could use them for movement if I would like, since they have movement 3 even without being boosted. I think it doesn't do that much, even though forest would be the path to the necropolis. But yeah, I'm letting go of them. So with any luck, I think I will kill the dragon, because this will be the most annoying token anyway, and then probably just leave them be and at some point just rush out to the necropolis. And the dragon will make me level. It will give me more reputation, even that much reputation at armor +5. And then with the last turn I can do the last hiring, and I can actually hire to the new command slot, so I won't even lose a unit. So that's probably the plan here. I still have these 2 wounds, unfortunately, because I can't discard a green card this turn. But let's see what I draw up. The die comes up gold at least, so I do have options now again. And I'm drawing a Rage, a Tranquility, and a March. So not the most firepower, but welcome cards nevertheless. The dummy will then play the rest of his deck, which is white, red, and blue. And we have 2 turns left. So this combination can just heal me, either by discarding the green card for heal 3, or just by using a mana and holding onto the Druidic Staff. Currently my problem is really with the staff that I have to discard something else and I don't have that many cards. So that's what's holding me back. We could now take on the dragon and use the 5 block here, and then either this with a non-matching mana, or this if I don't use a source tile to bring it up to 8. But to kill it I need 8 attack as well. So to get up to 8 I could use Universal Power with the gold mana, and then a red crystal, but I'm really starving myself on crystals. But that would be the 8 attack I'm needing. Let's move that here so that we can see everything more clearly. Once it's blocked, it has 8 armor, which I could defeat with this. And that would be 5 block. And if I activate the golems, it would be another 2, but I need 3. So I could pay a mana to bring it up to 4 So it would be 9 block and that's it. Because I think at that point cards are quite more important. And let's think about the Druidic Staff. I will probably not leave here. So movement is not that interesting. The crystals could be good. With a red card, readying a unit would be good. And the green is only useful if I don't heal regularly with the Tranquility. So I'm contemplating just playing it because I will, well, after this turn, it's end of round. So yeah, I have to draw these cards anyway. There are quite a lot of cards in my draw pile, so I think I'm just playing everything. Unless I want to waste another crystal, so these were used obviously. I will probably use the Druidic Staff to discard a green card, the Tranquility fittingly, and then heal 3, so I'm at least getting rid of these 2 wounds. I should probably know if I have more in the draw pile, but this is with this long of a break of several days, I can't remember and I won't look that up now. Because I'm technically wasting 1 point of heal, but I want to see my deck. So I could do that before provoking, obviously. I can then use the freezers for 5 and with a crystal the golems for 4, that's 9 block, so it's blocked, the armor goes down to 8. I then play a rage with a red crystal, universal power with the fitting mana unfortunately, so I need to use the gold one to bring it up to 4, so that's 8 attack and I'm killing the dragon. That's 7 fame. Brings me up to 51, but with Bliss rules to 52, and I'm leveling up. It's technically at the end of round, but there's no harm in placing it here already. So I get my command slot for the last turn, and I do get a reputation of +2. So I managed to be really famous and have +5 now, so that should make it trivial to hire and maybe even pick up something else. Because the Green City allows me to pick up advanced actions, so I'm eyeing that Intimidate just for the raw power, or a Temporal Portal, but probably the Intimidate, because I do need just power to kill all these things, to not need 3 attacks, for example, to kill it. So let's reroll the die. Comes up white as well. And I do draw the rest of my deck, because I have a hand limit of 6 and there's only 5 cards left. And I do actually have a shield in the city. I'm not the leader, so it would increase my hand limit by 1. So I could draw up to 7. Yeah, but there are no 7. So let's see. What have I left? A Swiftness, an Ice Bolt, a Threaten, a March, and a Mana Draw. With all these ranged attacks, and especially with this Ghostly Elixir, I could kill these, but I would not gain much reputation and I would not gain much fame. Oh, I did get a faction token. I forgot about that. So let's see what I got here from the dragon. And it's the Staff of Concealment that helps with movement and not provoking enemies. That's actually quite welcome. If nothing else, I can just attack the Necromancer without having to spend a card. But I have to keep in mind that I can also use them for influence. Getting the catapults now is trivial. And I should really do that, even though I will be at the city at the beginning of the night, but I think I want to get going at the beginning of the night. So there might be something else that comes up, but if I spend cards at the beginning of the night, I will spread myself thin for the final attack. So I think I'd rather stock up on the crystals again, so I won't use the combat cards if I do interaction. I can do either or. So I'm back to 3 blue. That already gives me a range attack, 18 ice attack with sacrifice, if I don't touch them again. I will then do an interaction, so I get +5. Where's my coercion actually? I thought I would still draw that. I'm not Krang. I'm not sure where I thought I would be. Not sure what I did in these days of pause that makes me so confused. Okay, so I'm not Krang, so I don't have a coercion, obviously. So I'm not sure how I was going about to readying the familiars to use them again. Probably with the staff, they would have an ability with a red card. Not sure if I'm missing something, if there was any other way, but I thought I was planning to use them twice. Probably with the staff then, yeah. Doesn't matter, I have so much reputation that it's not an issue. So 5 plus the shield is already 6. Catapults cost 9, that's 3 more needed. Threaten already gives me 2. I'm probably not going to power this. So maybe this is good spend for universal power. And this might be well spent with I don't give a damn. So that alone is 6 influence, that's 8, that would be 9. 1 from the shield is 10, 5 is 15. Unfortunately, it's 1 short of having... No, it's not. 15 is perfect. Catapults cost 9, so there's 6 left, so I could even pick up Intimidate. Is that true? So interact +5, 1 shield is 6, 2 is 8, 1 is 9, 2 because we used the source die is 11, 4 is 15. For 6 I get an advanced action, for 9 I get the catapult. So I'm taking the catapults, and I think I'm taking Intimidate, because 7 attack is just too good to pass on. This will give the dummy a blue instead of a red card, which is not a big deal because it's just 1 crystal, and he will pick up a white crystal from Call to Arms. I do like the Temporal Portal, but I do need attack. Let's take Intimidate. And that concludes the second day. I don't need to reroll this. Day tactics are burned, but there is no other day anyway. We ready the units. We do have to pay the familiars if we want to keep them. So red out of the question. Block is probably quite interesting, because we do need to block the Necromancer and we do also need to block this. But the dragons we will probably just kill with the sacrifice. Well, I can't take attack. Block might be good. Move or influence. I could use the healing Do I have wounds in this card? I think I have. Oh, it's just one. It's probably the Vampiric Chalice because I played 2 of them. Yeah, I think I'm using them for block, even though I do need then to pick up another blue crystal. But if I draw the Ice Bolt, for example, I could use this or regular Crystallize. I think there are multiple ways how to solve this. So we did not refresh the offer if I bought a card. There is Into the Heat. That's good. That's definitely good. Maybe this is something I want to buy. But let's first make the dummy. So it picks up a blue card and a white crystal. And since then it's the last round, I will probably get rid of Blood of the Ancients. Although I could use it for, well, I would have to pick it up anyway. So why pick something, why pick this up and to pick something else up or use anything else without just picking that up directly. I think I will toss that. The Whirlwind I will actually leave there, I think, because it allows me to destroy an enemy. So I might end up blocking this and just destroying it if I'm lacking the attack. Because I will have a lot of white mana if I use Sacrifice, white and blue. And there's a white and a blue spell. I'm just leaving them. There are the advanced actions that I can learn in a monastery. So Decompose and Blood Rage. So even more attack. Interesting. And the final 2 silver units are the Crossbowmen and Northern Monks. And the elite ones are Delphana Masters and the Blue Heroes. Now these Masters are looking quite interesting. I won't have a command slot, so I would have to replace something. Maybe I should have dropped the Familiars in anticipation of good elite units. Sitting at +5, I'm not sure. Into the Heat won't help with the Masters. But I do, as I said, if I do use Sacrifice, it's pretty much for, well, it doesn't cost me anything then to use the blue and the white mana to at least activate target enemy does not attack and target enemy loses all fortifications and resistances. But again, the Necromancer is arcane immune, so all that stuff doesn't work, so it's just for the entourage. Target enemy is destroyed if blocked is so nice. Only this is fire resistance, so if I block any of these dragons, if I end up doing that, for example with the Familiars, with the block 7, that's quite perfect, and I could just destroy them if I pay another red. Alright, so you need to shuffle the decks and go to the night side first. So there is black mana in the source, that's nice. Dummy is done, let's shuffle our deck. Let's see if we do need preparation to pick up the Sacrifice. If we don't see it in the opening hand, far too risky to not take it. I think it's one of the MVP cards that we do need, especially in the first assault. Alright, that should be enough. Let's cut it once. And we are drawing 7 cards. So 6 hand limit plus 1 shield in the friendly city. A wound. That's the only wound in the deck. March. Stamina. Cold toughness. Blood ritual. Horn of Wrath, okay, and an underground travel. So no Sacrifice yet. Let's think about this. We do have a little bit of a hand limit problem. If we regularly attack the Necropolis without starting from the city, which would mean we do need a lot of movement, especially in the night, we would only have 6 cards. We can use this to attack, so we at least don't need a card to attack the Necromancer. But 6 cards is not a lot. So I am thinking about using Sparring Power and building up some card reservoir, so maybe 4 cards, and then I would have 10. And I think that might make the difference. I'm gambling a bit then that I'm picking up Sacrifice naturally or putting it into the Sparring Power pile. If I'm really unlucky and do the first attack on the Necromancer with a deck that's not empty, I might not have Sacrifice. But I do have a lot of other stuff, so maybe it's not the end of the world. I just can't justify keeping Sacrifice in my hand right now with all these preparation turns, which will just reduce my hand limit, and then not have like 3 or 4 cards more for the attack. The Mana Surge, I think, with looking at this source where there's already black, 3 natural colors or normal colors, I think that's I can't justify that. So I will go last. That's the price I have to pay, and we have to hope the dummy is not hitting green, at least not more than once. But I do like the idea of building up a more hand limit. So let's try that. So for the dummy is actually irrelevant what he picks, but let's be consistent here with not cutting corners. So the dummy will play 3. Okay. So the order will switch. Goldix goes first, and he plays blue, red, blue. 1 more card, white. No green yet. He has a deck of 19 cards, so he removed 4. So 15. 4 of them are green, so the chance is a bit higher than 1 in 4 to hit it. We of course place 1 card under Sparring Power and then think about what to do here. So the Underground Travel I will probably use to travel to the Necropolis, because this is night and it would suck to traverse this naturally, even though I do have Pathfinding. And then I don't need that much more movement. So these cards are not that helpful actually. The Blood Ritual will be good to get more tokens, and maybe the last crystal even within the combat. Horn of Wrath, of course, is just a good. Cold Toughness I would also like to keep. So if we are planning on hiring the Delphana Masters, we have to replace the unit, probably the Guardian Golems, even though they would just absorb this. Well, the Delphana Masters have the same armor and all resistance, so that's not an argument. So I'm tempted to just kill one of these small tokens, if nothing else, just to get more of these nice things here. Maybe another Ghostly Elixir. And if I attack these, for example, the Guardian Golems could just absorb the attack. We can then use a stamina with Universal Power for attack 4. That will just kill them. So I could bump them into the Golems and then kill them with stamina. This would not actually use them. So let's see if we can also kill them. It also might cut down on the annoyance once I leave them with the pursuit. I could even wound them. That wouldn't matter at all. But I can only assign one attack to them. So why not just assign this one, yeah. So probably I will... if they wound something, they are vampiric, they get an armor. I was about to say 2 attack and then 2 attack with I don't give a damn is already 4. And I have used the Source Die, obviously. Well, I can use the Resistance Break on them, so they have armor 3. So that's probably the idea here. So the attack 4 would go here. Well, I need one more point then, so it's 3 and 5. If I take the wound, maybe that's the issue here. I don't want the wound anyway. I do have the option to use underground travel to travel to the monastery. If I'm moving 3 revealed spaces anyway, there's no difference in stopping at the forest or moving there. And then I can actually deal with wounds, for example, and continue preparation. So maybe I do take a wound because I don't really want to use other units and I don't want to use any crystals. So if I take this wound, it will be 5 attack necessary. Then bump them into the golems. This will take care of the attack, but then they have 5 and 3. But I can group them. There's nothing preventing me to group them. So this is 2, this is 4, and this is another 2. So I can even keep the card here. So that's the 8 attack, the wound, and the Guardian Golems absorb the other token. Let's just do it like this. I'm not sure if I should hold on to Cold Toughness. I don't know. We did use all of our skills. Quite nice. We didn't only use these 2 cards, but we would have 2 wounds in hand. Let's see. There's another black die, interesting. We do get 3 fame, and we do also get 2 more faction tokens. So there's the other Ghostly Elixir, and this is the Amulet of Reawakening, where I can pick up a random card from my discard pile under my deck, and I will have a hand limit increase as well. So that's also quite nice for the Assault, to get 1 more card in hand. So turning things into range, for example, the Intimidate twice, entering the Necropolis to fight the Necromancer in the first place, and having a high hand limit is insanely good. So I rather not use any of those for influence. So if I want to hire the Delphana Masters, I am at 6, so I'm missing 7 points of influence. But I do have Universal Power, that's then only 3 missing. So it would be one of these tokens, unfortunately. But I can do it, and even without further assistance of any influence cards. So let's use 1 turn to hire them, and then go to the monastery and heal, and then prepare further. This was my first turn in the city, clearing up these enemies. So it's the second turn now. Well, I draw 1 card because I'm at 6. There's a Tranquility, that's actually nice. So I can maybe spend a turn healing and hiring. That would be really good, yeah. So let's go with the dummy. Red, blue. I'm not hitting these greens, unfortunately. Red, okay. At least a short turn, but no more green cards. And this is our second turn. So to hide Delphana Master, I need 13. I'm at 5, that's 8. 1 shield, that's 7. 1 card sideways. There's no blue. I need a matching color. I'm running out of these crystals, so I should probably take this to heal. Well, first of all, I'm using Sparring Power. I think the main question now is, do I heal and stay here and hire the next turn? It might be risky if I'm hitting green, but I do need to get rid of this, and I can't just burn through my crystals. So let's try to play it slow. We heal with a Source Die and do nothing else, but at least we draw up 3 more cards. So it's depleted, a March, an Ice Bolt, nice, and a Druidic Staff. And the dummy, what do you do? White, red, so no green. He's really rushing through his deck. So there's the green I was dreading. So 4 more, white, white, green. So at least 2 of them are gone now. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards left. So unless we are hitting green, we are pretty much having 4 turns now. So I think I'm using this to stock up on crystals. I'm not making the mistake again to drag cards around for too long, even though it's range attack. But having my sacrifice setup is more important. I will then have to hire. What am I missing? I'm missing 7, I think. 6 I already have, so that's 7. And that would be a Universal Power and a token, for example. I do think I'm using the staff with blue to get 2 crystals of any 1 color. Unfortunately, it's just one color that I need to take. But I think I have to choose green here, even though I do need red later on, just to get the blood ritual started. But this means I can put one here, then have the matching color for this. That's 4 points. And if I want to keep all of those, I'm not sure if this is what I should do. Well, I would have to play another card and I don't want to. So I do have to pay one of those. But then I wouldn't use a source die. But it doesn't help. If I'm not using the matching color here, I'm only getting 3 points. Brings me up to 9, so I'm missing 4. So what to toss of them? So I do like these two because these are both 1 card worth of things. Because other cards that could move me into Necropolis can always be played with I don't give a damn or universal power. And I do have a lot of mana. All the blue I can get rid of with the units. And the white probably with something like mana draw. And well, there will be mana left. So universal power will be nice to use. So I think I'm actually getting rid of one of the ghost elixir. Even though I like it that much, I don't know if range attack will be that important. Seeing that I can probably just kill them with the sacrifice. And that at least with the first attack on the Necromancer, it doesn't matter if it's ranged or not. So I'm spending this for 3, that's 7, 8, 13. And I'm picking up the Delphana Masters. Alright, so let's clean up. I didn't use the source, but it's depleting quickly. This was my second turn, healing and hiring. And I'm drawing up to 7 again. Intimidate, Rage, Ambush, and Mana Draw. So all cards I want to see in the Assault, unfortunately. Let's see if we hit another green or not. There's a blue, there's a green. So it's just a 1 in 4. It's a blue one. Okay, so 1 more card. White, so there's 2 cards left in the deck. So we have 3 turns. We definitely do charge Sparring Power. So this is our firepower to actually kill stuff, as with the Horn of Wrath, to get all the mana. This we probably want to use now. The ambush would actually also be nice. I'm not too sure about this. If I use it for attack, it's just +2. And as said, I don't need to move into the Necropolis to start the assault. The mana draw will probably also keep, but we will lose the hand limit of 7 and go back to 6, so we are not drawing any cards. So I'm tempted to use the mana draw just to fix the source up a bit. So use it with the white here to turn the depleted die to green. Maybe I should put it to red, but I can power these cards currently, although I'm not sure what I want to power this for. Actually, I do, because if I am going to the monastery now, I can actually use a lot of influence. So I should probably do that. So I'm using mana draw with the white source tie to turn the depleted die green, get 2 green tokens. And then using underground travel to move 3 real spaces. So we are moving to the monastery. And then we are using universal power to produce 4 influence. With the 5 we get from our reputation, we are already at 9. And this allows me to pick up a card. And I do want this Blood Rage to have more firepower. I did not pick up an Into the Heat, but I think no matter where I pick up cards, I will have the problem with the hand limit. And I'm picking up so many red cards, I don't have even a single speck of red mana. But I hope I get the concentration to get it started and I can get all the red mana I want, at least the amount necessary. I could play Decompose. I think that's actually quite interesting. So I should pick that up so I can then decompose another card. For example, the regular Rage to get 2 blue crystals, and then I will have enough for Blood Rage and Intimidate. So I will spend 2 more turns here, and then can I kill the Necromancer in 1 assault? I will have to. Will be epic if I try that. So I'm learning this instead of the Blood Rage. But this is total overkill. I have +5 already, so I just need 1. But it was just to fix up the source, and I needed the green mana. And I don't see myself from 9 getting to 12. I think I'd rather do another interaction next turn to pick up the Blood Rage, and let's do that. So this is actually not necessary as is universal power. I just need the 1 point to get to 6 to learn this in the monastery. I will then use this on the Rage to throw it out of my deck. This is then played. So this is returned green. This was used for underground travel. These are all discarded. This will be rerolled. But I do get the 2 red crystals from decomposing the Rage. And now I'm drawing a lot of cards. I like that. Comes up green as well, unfortunately. I'm drawing Crystallize. There's the offering and the sacrifice. Okay, now I'm content. An Instinct and a Rage. Red, 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 red. A few cards left, but the dummy will first exhaust his deck. So there's another green. So I have 2 turns now, and I do probably want to put 1 under Sparring Power, learn another card, and then do 1 glorious attack and see if I win or not. I think that's the play. So let's do that. 1 under Sparring Power. Then we would have to play. Actually, I've drawn too many cards. So I probably did not see the Rage yet. I'm only having a hand limit of 6. I was confused with the city. but it's, I think, easy to fix. Doesn't matter too much, but I was about to think how many cards do I have to play to see the rest of my deck, and so that's most of my hand, and I'm not going to do that. Well, I put one under Sparring Power. Actually, that would have been the Rage then. Let's do it like this. It's a bit of information leakage, but I don't think I can act on this in any way, shape, or form. The important part, the way that I pulled the offering, and then at the end I said red, red, red. So I think this was the order in which I draw. So this is some card that I will have to draw regularly, and that's it with Sparring Power. So yeah, whatever I play I can replace. Let's put it like this. Well, there's too much red stuff. Let's put it like this. Even if I play the offering with a crystal, I can get at most 3. I can pull the red die I need from the source. This just too much stuff. If I'm learning Blood Rage now and Intimidate, I need definitely like 3 to cast this, 4, so I won't have the manas to play that many red cards. I can use this to color, but probably I will use this to crystallize because there are no options anyway in the source currently, and I don't have any green cards. So I'm almost full with crystals. Then I'm playing this for the, well, actually it gives influence right away, but this will be enough. So that's more than 6 to pick up the Blood Rage. And at that point, I don't think I want to give up any of these cards. So I'm re-rolling this and it comes up green again. I'm doing my final draw to 6 cards. I don't have to forget that. So that's that. So I won't see these cards in the game, unfortunately. Dummy announces end of round. And after the beginning of the turn, I will pick up 4 cards from Sparring Power, as was the plan. So I will have the Concentration, nice. I will have a Rage for more damage. And I do actually have Magic Talent, but I don't have a single blue card, but I do have a white card. So I can cast Whirlwind. That's interesting. So I do have another card to play sideways for probably 3. Whatever, and I do have a Concentration. And now it's time to attack. So for 2 movement, I can attack the Necromancer, and he is sitting right here. What I will want to do, definitely, is play the Blood Ritual, starting probably with a red crystal. So we will take a wound, unfortunately, and we will then definitely cast the Sacrifice. That was the whole point. We can take a black mana from here, and we will generate 3 tokens. I will make them golden, even though that's obviously not legal, but just to mark that these tokens are from Blood Ritual and they can have any color. So it could be pretty much anything except golden, but that's the point. So it could even be black. So we can shuffle this around without losing track. So I will probably use one for Sacrifice. So now I have to use the white ones to get the range attack 6. And I don't have enough red, so I need to take blue. So there will be range ice attack. This means I'm producing a range ice attack of 18, which I think warrants killing these 2 tokens. I could have a quick think about if I get to range attack 32 to kill the Necromancer, but then again, taking a poisonous attack of 8 or assassination attack with paralyze of 7, I'd rather prevent this attack. So that's the idea with the Necromancer. If you can't kill him, then you can't prevent the attack, and even if I can kill him, if I can rather kill stuff like this, I think it's much better, and then just take the attack. So Sacrifice would just kill these dragons, which is nice, of course, but it's all, the whole power is already gone then. So now I have all these tokens at my disposal. So these can be run into the Lefana Masters. They won't even flinch. The 3 armor and all resistances. And this is the question if you want to block it to reduce the armor or if you just kill it regularly. Well, what I do realize now, and it's a bit sad that it's so late, is that the Lefana Masters, well, they don't do anything against the Necromancer because it's arcane immune. And if I deal with these tokens in this way, there's not much to do there. So target enemy is destroyed if blocked. Well, if I don't block anything or activate it, it will be quite useless. So for example, we could use the Familiars to block 7. That was quite one of the points here. And then we could use the Lefana Masters for destroying a blocked enemy. That would get rid of this token. Then we could use the range attack to also kill them, but that's 90. So I need 1 more point of range attack or 5 more points to also kill them. This is where the catapults come in. That would be siege attack 5 and the ranged ice attack of 18. That's 23. And this is exactly 23. They are not ice resistant. And that would mean that with the Familiars and the Masters, as well as offering and catapults, the entourage is completely killed. So now we have to see if we can kill the Necromancer in 1 turn. It's 32 damage, because he's level 8 and has an armor of 4, but no resistances. So let's see how far we get. We still have to deal with his attack, but I don't think 2 wounds will be anything, well, it will affect the score, but nothing else. So let's first see if we can kill him. So that would be an attack of 9 and even 1 more wound. That would be an attack of 7. That's already 16. A concentrated rage would be 6 more points. And we can use a source die for this. So we are at 22. So we are missing 10 more points. That would be the freezers, for example. That's 5. And then we could use the Horn of Wrath, for example, to produce another 5 with a chance to get wounded. Oh, I did not use this. That's stupid. So I would have used this. I would have needed to use this at the end of my last turn. It would actually give me one more card. But I think I'm just playing too fast today. But I don't think it's that important. I think it looks good that we will finish this scenario. And it goes the elixir we did not use. But that's due to the reason that the ranged attack against the Necromancer doesn't do much. And we already killed pretty much everything at range. And this was killed by blocking, which was useful with the Delphana Masters. We could even use more of their abilities, just to point it out. We could use the armor reduction by 5. That would help with these. So we would, for example, not need the catapults. So they could add with the regular attack and so on. But I'm not so sure this is too helpful because we have all this mana lying around, but we have nothing to power with blue or white, unfortunately. The attack prevention does not help. Well, it would help actually if we want to block the Necromancer with the Familiars, but if we don't block them, we can destroy it. That's the problem. So I think we're already through with killing the enemy. So let's see if we can also block him. For example, using Universal Power with the Promise. We have enough mana, so that's not an issue. That's 4. I don't give a damn would be another 2. And now we're actually a little bit short. So I think we do use this to reduce the armor of one of these tokens by 5. Either the vampire or the dragon. So we don't need to use the catapults. So it just swaps the crystal to free up another unit. We can use the concentration on something else but the rage. This will free up a red crystal, I think was this. So this could be spent for blocking. We just can't use this mana. That's I think the problem here. So this would be enough to block the attack of the Necromancer. So 4, 2, and 2. Let's see what the attack side says. So that's then an attack of 9. Another attack of 9 is 18. We use the freezers for 23. We use this for 5, for 28. Then we have the catapults for 3. And 1 card sideways. So I think this will do it. Let's play it through one more time. We use the Staff of Concealment for movement 2 to walk from the monastery to the necropolis and fight here. We then use the Blood Ritual with a crystal from our inventory to pick up a wound and 3 tokens of any color, which we can crystallize. And we chose to pretty much 3 red, but we marked this with a gold here that we can travel around. But there are the 3 tokens. We are then casting Sacrifice with a Source die. Actually, I used the second Source die. I'm so stupid. I'm not used to the Blizz rules, so usually I only have 3. Yeah, but we already used 1 for black, but we do have a green crystal, so that's not a problem. So back to Sacrifice, we use the Source die and one of the tokens we generate with Blood Ritual to cast Sacrifice. Then we sacrifice 3 white for range attack and 3 blue for ice attack, for a range ice attack of 18. This will kill these tokens. And why? Because we activate the Delphana Masters to have the armor of one enemy reduced by 5. So that's 4, 8, 18. And then the 18 just kills them. We then can use all these tokens as regular mana tokens, but we only used 1 white, nothing else. So we did then play Universal Power and a Promise with one of these tokens for 4 block, the Rage for 2 block, and I don't give a damn with the Magic Talent for 2. Actually, I'm not sure if this is good to use instead of this, but this is thinking about the last turn and it's again only fame. But we are stuck at the necropolis, so it's probably not useful. There's nothing around to kill anymore. Well, we could move to the monastery and try something. But he has announced the end of round. But I think if I end the scenario, this supersedes this. I'm not sure about this. Let's not think about fame. Attack, the poisonous attack of 8 will be blocked. So we have dealt with these and we have dealt with the necromancer attack. Now let's deal with this. We activated the familiars for block 7 because of the blue crystal. This blocks the dragon. And then we use a red token on the Delphana Masters. Target enemy is destroyed if blocked. I'm not 100% sure about the timing here, about when to activate this. But if I give this target enemy is destroyed if blocked, at the same time I'm giving an armor reduction, then this will hold on to later when I block it finally. Because this is in the range attack phase. But I think this works out from the timing. So this token is also dealt with and killed. So these are all dead. Necromancer attack is dealt with. So now I need to come up with 32 attack. And for this I'm using a Blood Rage for 9. With one of these tokens, with a crystal, concentrated intimidate. This gives me another attack of 9, that's 18. I'm then using the catapults for 3, that's 21. The freezers for 5, that's 26, 27. And 5 brings me up to 32. And that kills the necromancer. I will get a reputation -2 from the intimidate. And I will get a wound from the blood rage, because I wanted to increase this to 9. And I do have to roll for the Horn of Wrath, which comes up green, so there's no wound there. And that's it. So let's pick up our rewards. That's 17 fame from the tokens. So we had 73 and we are leveling. And 8 levels of fame 3 give us 24 fame. So 73 and 24 is 97. But we do get still 1 extra fame from the Bliss rules, so 98. And I do think I would get more faction tokens, but I'm not sure these are useful or if they count in score at all. So let's get rid of all the tokens that we used. This was from the source. This is from the rose. I just rolled it for Horn of Wrath for the wound. So we do have these wounds in hand. And we used all our other cards, even though I did the misplay here with this. I think one trick with the Necromancer, or like one hurdle, is that you can only attack it once. So if you do it in a ranged attack phase and you don't have an immediate benefit, you can't actually finish it off in the other battle phase. At least that's what my current understanding. So it's actually not that good to go with range unless you can kill it. And coming up with 32 range attack is quite hard, so it's much easier to just take the damage or block it and then come up with regular attack. So this makes range attack actually not that useful if you can't kill it. But it was immensely useful if, as you have seen with the other tokens. Alright, so the question now is if I do have another turn or not. I actually do level. It's all not that important at this point. So I did even level again for the last command slot. So the skill choice is between I Feel No Pain and the Knight Sharpshooting, but I do wish I could pick up something that heals here. Will I see my deck? It's only 4 cards. Well, I take 1, so I won't see it completely, so motivation might actually be useful. But I think I want Stout Resolve. Yeah, let's keep it simple. Let's take the Stout Resolve. If I don't have the last turn, we will... It's not a big deal, it's just a fame thing, but let's think that the rules literally mean that after the scenario ends, the dummy player does not have a final turn, but the players do, no matter if the end of round was already announced or not. I might be wrong here, because if it was announced, then maybe even if we win the scenario, we don't have another round. But if we do, we can do the following. Well, we do level up anyway. Pick the card that I can only take if I take one of my skills. So I don't want to get rid of wounds currently, at least not in the discard pile. It doesn't do anything for fame. So that's the situation at the end of my turn after leveling up. And if I do have another turn, I will then now see these cards here. Start Resolve, Stamina, Swiftness, and another Swiftness. So the card I won't see is Pathfinding. And all I would probably do or can do is use the Swiftness to move to the monastery and then use the Stout Resolve. Actually, if I do discard the wounds, I can't heal them, so that's quite pointless. But I'm still at +2, so I can get another +2 influence. That's already enough to heal the wounds, so I will probably just do that, move to the monastery, heal the wounds. So the only difference is if I have 2 wounds in hand or not. I could try to burn it down to really push my luck, get another artifact. And I do have Swiftnesses here, but I don't have the mana for it. And I don't want to complicate things, so let's just end the scenario here. So we did barely, with the last turn after end of round was already announced, fight the Necromancer in the Necropolis. It was night rules, but it didn't matter because it was night anyway. I thought in the scenario I might have a shot at going to the Necropolis in the day, because I did have Sacrifice already charged, and with a black mana and the night rules I could even cast it at day. But I think it was safer to approach the friendly city first, even though we had to clean up all these pursuing enemies, because now I have this nice army. But the Defana Masters was kind of not that important, I think. Maybe I should have even left early and not chanced this risky end with the end of round. Maybe even picking up the other card was not that good, but it is 9 attack and I barely scraped it together, so yeah. I think usually you probably want to go with a second combat round. For example, dial him down to this level here, to level 3. So you're just killing him 5 times basically, so 20 armor. And he will then have physical resistance, but only an armor of 3. So maybe that gives you a good chance to then kill him more easily, because it's then only 9 armor left, but it's, well, he's physically resistant at that point. So you would need some ice attack or something like this. But in general, to make it in 2 steps, I think is much more realistic. But with the sacrifice combination and, well, very high level attack cards that we picked up, we could barely get it. We would have 1 card more, so we would actually have been through the deck, and one of these cards that I just played would have been in my hand. And actually there would have been another card from discard pile in the deck, so it would still not be empty. But this was kind of a misplay. And the turning a range attack, I think it's an insanely good skill. If I would not have sacrifice, I would not have 18 range attack, and then turning like an intimidate into range attack or some blood rage into range attack, that's just insane. It's just 9 range attack. Yeah, I think this is quite a good token. But again, we did not need it in this case. I'm really baffled that I used these tokens, well, the Vampiric Chalice twice, which I think is one of the weakest tokens because it does not actually heal your wound. And all these other things I used for influence. But I think they are immensely useful. So taking them, so switching them with fame, I think, I don't know. I could do that now to level actually again in the last turn. So technically I could have done this or used just the influence. Well, with the influence I can't do anything because I already learned everything in the monastery. But I could have spent them for fame to level again. turn, so that would be another advanced action card in my hand for scoring, but that's pretty much it. So we won because we sealed the 2 graveyards and defeated a Necromancer. When it comes to scoring, we score 5 points for each graveyard you sealed and 10 points for defeating the Necromancer. So that's 20 points already. And then 10 points on top if you achieve both. So it's 30 points. So it's very close to 35 points you get from a solo conquest. So at that point, I think the Blitz rules no longer apply, obviously. This was just from the fame in-game. So now we don't get an extra fame. This would also be 1 fame difference if I had leveled up again. So 98 plus 30 is 128. Since it's a board of 120, I'm at 8 now. So then there's the usual scoring for missing rounds and cards in the dummy deck and end of round, which I all do not get because I cut it so short. And we do the standard achievement scoring, of course. So let's see what I do have in my deck here. So we have 2 spells, that's 4 fame. We have 9 advanced action cards, even though we played Blitz, because we did get one from the graveyard. We learned 1 from the Green City, I think. We learned 2 in the monastery, so we picked up a lot of them, so that's 9. We do have 2 artifacts for 4. We do have 1 crystal pair left after sacrificing all of them for 1 point. For the leader, we do have 10 points, 12 points here. For the conqueror, we did burn down a monastery in the beginning. We did not take the keep. We did not take the mage tower. So we actually circumvented all these fortified sites. That's probably the reason why we ended up with so much fame, because we always just got the plus fame from the... Well, in the beginning we started at +1 because of Blitz rules, and we used Threaten and burned down a monastery, which actually brought us down to -1. But then we did have a lot of rampaging enemies, dragons, which all gave us plus reputation, and the sealing from the graveyards as well, so this is why we were so popular in the end. But for the Greatest Conqueror, unfortunately, it's just a burnt down monastery, so that's 2 points. From the adventuring point of view, we did almost nothing. We did do a maze, but we did not do the altar or spawning ground, something like this, or monster den. So I think it's just another 2 from the maze. And at that point we would get -4 points from the wounds if we don't have a last turn. Otherwise we stay where we are, and that's it. So it's quite a low score, but it's a Blitz rule game. So I think that explains this, I hope. We are at 43 with 120 plus, that's 162. No, 163, so not that high, but I'm not familiar with what a good score is for this. The scenario itself, as I said, gives you almost the same amount of points for the actually win condition. So it's usually 35, I think. 10 for the cities and 15 if you conquered all. And here it's 5-5 for the graveyards, 10 for the necromancer, and then overall 10 if you did both. So that's 30. That's not a big deal or not a big difference. But with 2 less rounds, I think that's the major difference in points. So this concludes the Realm of the Dead. I think I will go for the Hidden Valley next, just to see the other side. And I think the trick here was really that you are fighting in the dark against the hordes of the undead. So they're all pursuing you, all these undead coming for you. And in the graveyards, you don't see the enemies, actually. They are not revealed, which I don't... Well, I get the theme, but I like it more if I can plan more. This is also why the Life and Death scenario, where you have the split map with the Realm of the Dead and the Hidden Valley combined, and you see all these double enemies in these graveyards or glades, that allows you to plan a lot. So this is why I like this a lot. I'm not sure if in the Hidden Valley they are turned up or not, but I think the Hidden Valley has a completely different theme. There it's not about sealing graveyards, but the revealing is quite hard because you can't find it as easily. That's the reasoning. And I think if you liberate a glade, you can actually reveal a tile. And so this is the reason why you want to do that, so you can counteract this burden of actually finding the enemy. So let's see how this goes, and then I will definitely go for Life and Death. And I think this was pretty much the limit of what I can actually do, so I'm quite happy that I did not try 12 right away, because this would be obviously 16 more armor to defeat, and I couldn't have done this in the first turn, but I think I didn't play that optimally this time. Alright, so this concludes the Realm of the Dead. See you in the next game, probably the Hidden Valley.